Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In this week's show, we're going to recap Fight to 132 in Honolulu, Hawaii. We're going to recap GrappleFest 7. We're going to recap the Spyder BJJ Invitational, the finals for 2019. We're going to preview Polaris 12, and we're going to preview Quintet Fight Night 4. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, joined with my co-host,
Emil.
Austin.
Quick to the draw, man.
Double voices.
Austin and Emil. I realized that was the weird way to do the intro. So before we get into that, let's talk about a little grappling news. Where do you guys want to start with this one? We'll talk about the Kasai lineup. We'll talk about Kanan versus Gordon.
Let's do Kasai. I don't want to start with internet shit talking.
So Kasai's Pro 7 has announced its lineup for its heavyweight GP heavyweight tournament, and it's a good lineup.
Yeah, it's a fucking awesome lineup.
So we got Kanan Duarte. We got Nick Rodriguez, so potentially we can see the third match for them. We have Cyborg in that tournament. We have Bruno Bastos. We have Gabriel Hosha. We have Patrick Gaudio. And we have Vinny Magalhaes. So basically it's like 80cc plus 99 and under 99.
Yeah, they better have Nicky Rod and Kainan on the opposite ends of the fucking bracket, because I'm not particularly thrilled to see like a three-peat.
How do you, especially so close, like we've seen the same, we'll potentially see that match like a month apart, 2 weeks apart, and then like a month, 2 months apart again.
Yeah, it's a lot, and I'd much rather see, for example, if we're talking repeats, I'd much rather see Cyborg and Nicky Rod to see more saltiness.
I think it's really hilarious. So this is basically like an 80cc division again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
It's your top guys at the weight class. It makes sense. I mean, that's a crazy lineup. Like all of those guys potentially have the ability to take that one. Again, really hard to bet against Kynan though, with how he's looked recently against. I don't
see a way anybody beats him that's in this division. Like, what can you beat him with? Like, if you look at everybody's name on this list, he's either beaten them or, like, they don't have a good way to beat him that I can think of.
Yeah.
Like from a game planning perspective.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah,
his game planning, actually, we talked about this a little bit in the group chat. Like, Maine and I were talking about, I had said, I think Kainan's fight, like, BJJ IQ is the best of any competitor, certainly in the gi. Josh did bring up a good counterpoint that I have to kind of cede, which is Mike Musamenshi, I think.
Yeah, but like you have the lower weight guys versus the high weight guys. Like the gamesmanship and like the parallels of game are a little different. I think at the higher weight classes, I think there's a really good argument that
Kainan has had to figure out how to beat like a bunch of fucking amazing.
I think depth of field and variation of game, you got to tip your hat to Duarte. But then you think about like the technicality of some of these smaller guys have, like. I don't know, man. That's really tough. Like, these, like, long, protracted, like, grip battles from 50-50, that's really tough to plan
like
for.
Bruno Malfacine.
Yeah. Like, okay, cool. I got 50-50 against, like, the preeminent 50-50 player in the world.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard to say. That being said, like...
I'm amped for this lineup.
I'm amped for it, and...
This looks like a really... I think this is not the... I forget which card this is. If this is the one in Brazil or if this is the one in Dallas. I think this is the Dallas card.
I think it's Dallas.
I don't remember. I think it's the one in February. So
yeah.
In other news, Ari Farias versus AJ Agazarm was announced for Fight to 133 in Fresno.
Yeah, so that's coming up. I think in 2 weeks.
I think so.
Yeah,
that's actually a really good matchup. That's actually like a super good matchup. That both guys have like a really interesting pathway to victory there. I assume it may be gi, it may be no gi. Neither would surprise me. I think I'm kind of leaning towards more the gi with Farias, but like that's a really interesting matchup between both guys. Do you guys any thoughts on that one?
Not really.
Ari's, I think, just fought MMA this weekend and took another win. I forget, but he's been doing MMA for a little bit now. But it's funny, both guys are in MMA and then coming back into grappling. So let's see. Oh, yeah, so let's talk about Gordon versus Kynan. So Gordon posted a screenshot of his bank account information with $400,000 in it. And I was like, I'll put up, I know, after Kynan won Spyder and won $100,000. And he went, you put up 100, I put up 100. Let's make it happen.
There's so many things to unpack about like doing this. like the most obvious one is like, why don't you just go through a promoter, man? Like, like there's people that do this. He's done this numerous times to different people. He's done it with Galvao. He's done it with, I can't remember if he tried to do it with Buchecha. Like.
He's done it a couple times in the last year. He's done it.
Yeah, didn't you say something to Lachlan too? Like, I'll put up 500 versus like 5.
Yeah,
he's gonna put up like $500,000 and
$500,000 versus 5,000. Yeah,
it's corny. Like It's so
It's just to build hype.
You said something funny, which is like, yo, why wouldn't you invest that money?
Yo, yeah. So that's the other thing
Why
to
does he
unpack
have
is like,
$400,000 in
like,
his
house
checking
in my
account?
I'm
bank
worried
account.
about Gordon's like financial, literacy here. Like you're only getting like 0.25% on a checking account, dog.
It's true.
Like
Diversify
invest.
your savings.
That's right, man.
Invest in bonds. I don't know how like
I have no idea either.
We're all broke. like
I'm too poor to
as
know.
shit.
Yeah.
like I have a mortgage. You guys have college debt. Like
Don't they
Yeah.
only insure 100,000? Let me stop talking like I know. I have no idea.
yeah, FICA does. It's
Yeah.
only I'm sure up to $100,000.
Yeah,
If
I've seen
someone-
the sign at a bank
Isn't it
account,
isn't
and
it
I was like, nothing to worry about. Who has $100,000?
Those are Gordon Ryan problems financially.
Yeah.
So I'm honestly like I'd be interested in the matchup, but I would honestly I don't like guys putting up a ton of their own money because grappling is like a super poor sport, and I hate to see like one guy lose a ton of money and give it to the other guy. It's just like it puts it in a weird spot. But I'd much rather see like a promoter paying for the match.
100%, man.
It's just like whenever it's like I don't like watching guys that can't afford to bet. I mean, both of you guys can afford to bet that money because they both like
It's
win
like
a lot of
jiu-jitsu
stuff.
bum fights, man.
Yeah.
Like
a little bit, kind of.
Yeah,
It's like
you
both
know,
these
it's
guys are like the top,
We're racing for pinks.
yeah.
some of the best paid guys in the sport. But it's just like it's still weird, like to watch a dude lose a bunch of his own money in a grappling match.
it's
that I
definitely
wanna
him.
see.
Just it's a pride thing, like
For
just
sure.
being like an excuse to show his bank account.
It'll be
Whatever.
cool if Kynan bites, but then that isn't actually what happens. Like a promoter just makes the fight happen behind
yeah.
closed
I'm
doors.
watch the fight. Like
Yeah,
I'm
of
super
course.
interested in the fight because
Of
like
course.
If you can't get Kainan to like fucking react in a like I've never seen Kainan react. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he's so
like
cool.
throw him off his
He's
game.
still methodical.
He's so methodical. He's not gonna fucking like.
We'll talk about him in the finals versus Mercalli.
Yeah, dude.
A dude that like throws off a bunch of people. Threw off Herbert pretty well.
Yeah.
So oh yeah, and the rewind redact. You guys anything else on that matchup?
Nah.
No.
On the rewind redact section, apparently Craig Jones and Adam Brzezinski have not fought before. Josh or I said they'd fought like 2 or 3 times last week, and somebody was like, "I think you're wrong about that." And I looked it up. I was like, "I think they fought at all."
Are you telling me you and Josh Weinstock talked out of your ass at one point?
a little bit?
Not the
I'm
two of you.
shocked.
That's not even a shock movie. It's just like it's like that makes you guys know me at all. It's like that makes sense. And
makes sense for
Thomas
Josh.
Halpin is not from the UK. He is Irish. So second rewind redact. Try to get better about that as we go through the this show.
That's interesting. Like now I'm trying to remember. There's a difference between the UK, Great Britain, and
Oh, man.
England.
Brexit
And
stuff.
I don't know.
There's a chart on Google that I use when I look at this.
Yeah.
It breaks down like the land masses and like the geography.
part of Ireland that's part of
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
I have no idea. I'm
Yeah.
dumb.
So that was the thing. Rewind redacts. Here we are. Let's move on to the recap section. Start
Now
with
let's
Spyder.
talk geopolitics, man. Come on.
Let's totally not. All right. So on to our recap of Spyder BJJ, the 2019 championships for Spyder. It was amazing.
It was bananas.
It was
This is
great.
like, it's bananas from a talent standpoint. It's a bananas like from the fucking payout standpoint. Like 100K in each division.
$100,000. So how that broke down, because that was kind of confusing to me, is the winner only got $85,000 from winning the finals, but you got $10,000 for winning the semifinals, and you got $5,000 for winning the quarters, equaling out to $100,000 for the winner. And then each member, basically, the 4 people got $5,000, and then 2 people got $10,000 out of that. And that's why the winning purse was $85,000, but you had $15,000 up to that point to get
Right.
there. Which I didn't understand until literally probably like 30 minutes ago when we were doing a pre-show on this. I was like, oh, that makes sense
Awesome.
now. I understand.
Broke it down for us. But yeah, so there's basically 2 8-man divisions. There's a lightweight division with Jonathan Alves, Shane Jamil Hill Taylor, Mateus Gabriel, Edwin Najmi, Levi Jones Leary, Gabriel Arges, Mateus Lutz, and Inseong Jung. And then in the heavyweight division, we have Mercalli, Tim Spriggs, Herbart Santos, Claudio Calasans, Kainan Duarte, Leandro Lowe, Rodolfo Vieira, and Anderson Muniz. Just absolutely stacked with talent. This
Heavyweight
more or
is
less
under 100 kilograms, and then lightweight is under 76 kilograms.
Yeah. This could be, the end rounds of the world championships.
It probably will be.
Yeah.
Any of these matches could be like a headline on like any other card.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like
Just
that's why you and I, you came to my house to watch
did.
Grappling, which is like every probably 4 to 6 months that happens.
Yeah.
That's about right.
Somebody
Well,
comes to someone's house and like watches Grappling.
We're starting to get to that point. And actually, now that I think about it, you talked about Ari coming back from MMA. we have Rodolfo coming back from MMA. We have AJ coming back from MMA.
solid
I'm
point.
not saying that they're putting MMA down, but like clearly grappling is lucrative enough.
It has some allure to these guys
Yeah.
to come back and continue. Because like previously we saw guys like do MMA and like
They're gone.
They're
That's
gone.
it, yeah.
And then maybe do like one-off match like really occasionally.
Unless they like got put like stomped or something,
Yeah.
like or had like some really rough matches. Like Tonan's been doing the same thing, like kind of coming
Oh,
back for
Tonin?
ADCC.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Dorino
shit.
does it all the time. Like Dorino fights active. I think he's ranked in the UFC.
He is,
and
yeah.
like Davi Ramos is in the UFC. I think he's ranked. Like we're seeing guys come back and do matches. So it's like the sport's moving in the right direction to like for me to not have to watch as much MMA.
Yeah,
Well, I love MMA, but like we do this show, I kind of love grappling more.
So the other thing I want to bring up before we get into the results here is like, so Spyder took place in Korea. We had this weekend alone an event in Korea, an event in the UK, and an event in Hawaii, that's really dope. Like that's kind of incredible.
Which
when you
time
think about
zones
it.
were crazy this week to watch stuff. Honestly, GrappleFest being in the UK was like super great. It was like at midday. This is awesome.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of incredible. Like
It's
that's
international.
That's international.
We had three. Kauai is not technically international, but we pretend like it's not.
I mean, it's
but
in the
it
middle of
kinda
the
is.
fucking Pacific.
It's in the middle of the ocean in a different place that we kind of were like, we own this now.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So it's
Shout out
just,
to Hawaii. I love you. I've never been there.
it's dope. I think it's awesome that we're seeing jiu-jitsu proliferate out like this. But anyway, let's get into
Let's start with the wildest, some of
Yeah.
the wildest shit ever.
Yeah.
First round, first matchup of the tournament, we see the rematch between Shane Jamil Hill-Taylor and Jonathan Alves. These guys had met when Jonathan Alves was a brown belt at Spyder, I want to say sometime in 2018.
Yeah.
Right?
2018, yeah.
I think the 2018 finals or the preliminary.
No, it was early. Yeah.
It was the early round of the
Yeah.
2018 Spyder. And Jonathan took like a really close, I think it was either an advantage or decision over Shane. It was like, wow, that's really impressive. This brown belt comes, beats the current IBJJF world champion. This guy's like a really, really good guy to watch. And so it's like, okay, we got the rematch of this. And
Jonathan gets his black belt in between.
Yeah.
And so now Jonathan is a black belt. We see the rematch, and holy shit, Jonathan fucking comes out like guns blazing here.
dude, Shane starts to bolo.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan goes,
Nah.
oh, cool. Reverse bolos.
Yeah.
Gets Shane's back.
Yeah.
Gets under the neck. Gets the choke. And gets the tap.
Yeah.
yeah. I think he really put himself in the lead a lot by grabbing that early collar grip. Because usually guys like kind of bow to the belt and the pants, but it looked like Jonathan kind of like leg dragged his leg across in the reverse bolo and grabbed like a
Yes.
high collar grip, and that put him in the lead so much when they started like racing for the back.
Also, Shane kind of went for the foot lock a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of like looked like he was sort of going for the knee bar or the toe hold. And then Jonathan just continued to go to the back position and just locks it up and then
Those
gets the sub.
those Atos guys, like, they are incredible at chaining the bolo to the leg drag.
Yeah.
I mean, like, people forget about it, but like they've also developed a shit ton of the leg drag stuff. And
Oh, yeah.
like,
right.
it-
Like, when I think of Bolo, I think of the Atos guys. Like, that's
Yeah.
that's immediately what I think about. It's like, they may not have been the guys that invented it, but it's like in my head, they were the guys that popularized it and like made it the top
Yeah.
black belt. Like,
I think
meta
they're
for those
far and
couple
away
years.
the best guys at figuring out the gripping exchanges.
Yeah.
Like the meta for gripping exchanges. Like if you look at the guys who have been on their team in the past and the guys who are still there, like they out grip pretty much everyone, or they have a very clear idea of what grips they need before they get anything.
they're incredibly systematic.
Yep.
Like,
This match was crazy. Like, I think people like picked maybe Jonathan to win, maybe Shane to win, but like I don't think anyone picked 90 seconds in Bolo back take sub.
No way.
yeah.
And if you did, you were dumb because like that, no one
it was less than a minute, dude.
Yeah,
wasn't.
it was in the first minute.
I thought it was 30 seconds, and someone else said 90 seconds, so I went
Nah,
with that.
it was less than a
it was
minute.
sometime in the first minute for
Wow,
sure.
it was
Yeah.
like it was.
They were standing up at like 6:07 or something like that. Like,
Wow.
it was dumb quick. So yeah, Jonathan looking absolutely stellar.
So we came out guns blazing on
Yeah,
Spyder.
Yeah.
and like we've talked about this a lot. Like, you know, Jonathan's one of the rare. We're starting to see it a little bit more now, but one of the rare people that go from brown belt to being immediately a competitive black belt.
Yeah.
like it used to be like people would get promoted and then they'd be like kind of out of their element for a little bit. Like it would take them a couple years. Like Jonathan's just straight up like he's just
We
there.
saw it with Mercalli too, like brown belt to like world beater, black belt, world champion.
Yeah.
And like we see that more frequently now that like, and there's still guys that like, you know, take a year or two to like really get their footing at black belt, but like we do see the guys like him that just come in and storm into black belt like, hey, I'm here, I'm ready, and be a top contender for the world
Kainan,
championship.
another one.
Yeah, Kainan
Yeah, right.
Duarte, we've talked about him, you know, a ton now. This was a nifty match. This was like Dude, Alba is going to be hard to beat.
This was an incredible way to open up an awesome event. So next match we have Mateus Gabriel defeating Edwin Najmi 4-2. So this was a really technical back and forth. There's like a lot of, again, Barambolan leg drags and 50-50. But ultimately, like Mateus hits like a really awesome sweep from 50-50 by rotating Edwin's hips out a little bit and getting him to sit his butt on the mat. And then Mateus comes up. And, you know, that's the deciding 2 points, basically,
pretty much,
there.
That one sweep was just like, yep, I'm on points now, and that's the match. So Najmi gets knocked out. I think Keenan on the Mapper podcast picked Najmi to take it, and we were kind of like,
he did. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think it's because they're buddies more than anything else.
Yeah.
Najmi's really good, but I don't know. This is like a super stacked division, and it's also like guys who are gamers in the gi, like have a really solid game plan who like aren't really going to... I don't want to say fall for, but if you're going to like flying triangle or flying armbar dunk on somebody, this is probably not the division you're going to do it in.
Yeah,
right.
Like, could you imagine winning scrambles against, Jonathan Alves or Shane Taylor or Levi Jones Leary? You know, like,
right.
As you said, they're all, you know, the only person that might engage in like scrambles with you is Mateus Lutas. Like, that's, you know, and
Sure.
that's where Edwin shines is like, you know.
Right.
So, next match we have Levi Jones Leary defeating Gabriel Arges by rest decision.
This was kind of, I don't know, like no surprises for me. Like Levi wanted to be on the bottom because that's where he always forces the action. He ends up with like a lumberjack sweep, which is not something you typically see at the high level, but in terms of like people who would do it and like pull it off, not surprised at all.
No.
And he threatened like a couple of back takes, a steamer locks, like a straight ankle lock at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that was enough to win it for him. It was tied up at the end.
I'm not familiar with the lumberjack sweep terminology.
It's like usually it's from like close guard, where the guy who's in your close guard stands up, and then you just grab behind both their ankles and pull backwards.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Double ankle sweep.
Yep.
Double ankle sweep.
Dummy sweep is another.
Dummy sweep. I've heard it called idiot sweep.
Idiot sweep. I
Yeah.
teach it as the dummy sweep.
Yeah.
But like it's not super common at the high levels, but you see
No.
occasionally with guys they misjudge where the guy's gonna square up, and you see a lot of times in the gi with that outside gi grip on the inside pant leg, guys will grab that grip and be able to pull through.
I
Because
think when you hit somebody with like a really standard, like fundamental sweep like that, it's a testament to how technical your guard actually is. Kind of like Hodger cross-collaring people.
Right.
It's like, if you think that his cross-collars on like a basic level, like you're dumb. It's
Right.
that everything else is so good that he's able to do that to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
super impressive.
Yeah,
Yep.
Levi throughout this entire event is, he still surprises me with how fucking fluid his guard
It
is.
still
Yeah.
surprises me that he's willing to sit double guard.
Well,
and
Yeah,
own.
we'll definitely get into
We'll
that.
get into that in a little bit here.
But yeah, Levi coming back looking real strong after a couple disappointing outings recently. But next match we have Mateus Lutas defeating Inseong Joong by ref's decision.
So whatever Emil says regarding Mateus, you got to take it with a grain of salt, because Emil loves Mateus Lutas.
Yeah, Lutas is dope. I mean, but Inseong is really good. We talked about it before, where Inseong like had really like we became aware of him in Spyder, and
Versus Meow, I think.
yes, I think it was Meow,
Yeah.
and this was like him appearing was like we were like, okay, they have like the hometown hero that they added in with this stuff, but then the thing that cemented me being like, oh no, this guy really is good was Keenan who was on commentary basically being like, this guy is really good, like he's very stable in Meow's guard, he's doing a really good job, and yeah, this was a close match.
Yeah.
It was a really close
They
match.
said that Jong's beaten AJ at some point too. They said that in the commentary. I haven't seen where, but apparently he's beaten AJ in the past also. So he has some pretty solid feathers in his cap too.
Yeah, and in the end, basically, there's a lot of 50-50, but in the end, like, Lutas does the thing where he goes absolutely ham. He goes, like, knee slice, double unders, Toriando. He's just passing like a madman. I think that was enough for the rest decision, so...
He actually, so they had this scored as ref's decision. I just went back and watched it this morning, and Lutas scores too.
Yeah.
And they
Oh, he
call
does.
it. It was
Okay.
2-0, but then they did announce it as like a ref's decision, and they have it billed as like a ref's decision.
Huh.
But it was really weird. So they had this like quick like double guard pull, but Lutas doesn't have his butt touch, and he just kind of ankle picks and stands over top.
Yeah.
So he scores 2, And the song had like all these like
Oh,
solid
yeah.
collar drag attempts and like guard recoveries off the passing, like you were saying.
I have that in my notes too. He gets
Yeah.
the takedown points up like pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah, so it was like 2-0 the entire time, and then when they announced it was like by referee's decision.
So I don't know if they waved it back and take off the scoreboard or something, but
I'm
like
not sure.
it looked like a standard like that
called-
low
they
that
called
like
two.
he does, that drop
Yeah.
down pull up like
Yeah, it was a clear 2 points.
Yeah.
Nothing like super high like visibility.
they were like I forget what match it
skying,
was. There
but-
was like 1 or 2 points where there was either like a really quick call or like a really slow call. I think it was only 1 or 2 matches, but there was a couple times where the scoring was a little bit like
That was in the Vieira match, I think.
maybe that's what it was. Where
Yeah.
it was like one of the times he gets swept. It's
Yep.
like
It's Vieira.
it's like super long, and then the reverse, the sweep happens, and it's like two. It's like
Yep.
what?
Yep.
So,
So-
you want to go through the semifinals? Or you want to go through
Yeah.
the lightweights first, and then go to the heavyweights?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Let's do that. So lightweight semifinals, we have Mateus Gabriel defeating Jonathan Alves, basically 2-1 on advantages. So pretty much off the bat, there's a 20-second rule penalty from double guard pull. There's a second double guard pull, but Mateus stands up and gets the 2 points here. And everyone was like, the commentators were a little confused here with, Jonathan maybe having made a tactical error because it did put him behind, and that ended up being like, a deciding factor. There's another set of double penalties again. So at this point, they're both 1-1 on ads. And actually, they got 3, right?
They got 3,
So,
I think it was
they got
penalties.
3
They got
double
3
penalties.
double guard pull penalties here, and I thought we were
Yeah,
gonna see,
that's where the points came from.
Yep,
That's where the
exactly.
2 points came
and I
from.
thought we were going to see a repeat of Levi Jones Leary and the Worlds, where he got double DQ'd versus I forget who he was fighting in the Worlds, and this match gave me concern for moving forward for Levi Jones Leary because
Well, we're talking about Jonathan Alves right now.
Matthias Gabriel.
In my notes, I'm looking at the next match there.
Main is so ready to shit on Levi
So
Jones
I'm not
Leary.
really showing him. I'm just like I'm super hype on the guy, but I'm super concerned that he's.
All right,
done
let's finish this match
Okay.
first.
I keep
Because
moving, guys.
as the buzzer,
Yes,
this
this
is
is the part
a
I wanna talk about
buzzer
too.
beater.
Yeah.
Like as the buzzer hits, Mateus hits a De La Hiva knockdown sweep and gets the ad for the win. It like really was as the buzzer.
I was
going.
surprised there wasn't more controversy because he kind of didn't like doggy paddle his way up to like being on top while the buzzer was going off. So it kind of looked like Jonathan was kind of just sitting there like, oh yeah, time's up. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Mendez brothers like kind of looked stunned. Like I think it was Hoffa who was on the side.
I thought I saw Guy.
thought it was Guy.
Yeah, Guy, you're right. I get them confused all the time, names
Yeah.
wise. But yeah, he's just kind of on the side, just kind of. He doesn't look like
They
that
were
upset.
waving
He
it-
looks stunned.
They were waving it back, weren't they?
He was like, "Wait, what happened?" Yeah, they look
I
kind of
thought
like.
I thought he waved it back. Like it was like kind of like, are we gonna?
Yeah.
We're gonna wave that back, right? Because that was a really quick ad.
It was a really quick ad right at the last second,
there.
which I don't necessarily disagree with, but it was, like you said, super last second for a really close match.
Yeah.
Yeah. It almost looked like he kind of like stopped fighting the sweep there. Like
Yeah.
at timer went off, he kind of had stopped fighting it, and it was
Yeah.
like, okay. And then it got scored, and I was like, that was a little.
It was definitely
a little weird.
It was definitely on the borderline. I could see them
Yeah.
giving it ad or not giving it ad and it going the same way.
Yeah.
We talked about that when we were watching it live.
Yep.
So semifinals, we have Levi Jones Leary defeating Mateus Lutes 6-0. So yeah, double guard pull here. Mateus off the bat goes for an omoplata, and Levi nearly takes the back as a result. Levi goes basically De La Hiva to a boss flower sweep. Like,
Yeah.
he just
That was beautiful.
That was
technique. I was
nuts.
super.
This is another
impressed
one
with
of
that.
those like where basic techniques will win out after your guard is like really technical. At least in my opinion, like the flower sweep was more technical than a normal like close guard day one flower sweep. Don't get me wrong, but still, that's like pretty impressive to flower sweep and back take someone when they're that high of a level.
yeah, like a stocky Marcelo guy. You
Yeah.
know, like that's really impressive. And
That was for me. That was one of the most impressive like
was
movements of the
pretty.
tournament. Was like that flower sweep. Like, oh my god!
because he combos, like he's going De La Hiva on the far side, and then he switches into a flower sweep. So he does a good job off balancing. And then while Mateus is rolling, Mateus bridges, and Levi takes the back like off the bat from this one sequence. It's really beautiful. So then he's up 6-0, and basically even with Lutes eventually escaping and desperately trying to pass, like. Now Levi gets to
Yeah, it
chill in
wasn't
his
time.
like amazing open guard.
Yeah, he ran
Right.
a lot of the clock, which I think is like a really tactical move. He kind of wrote out the clock with a bio triangle and didn't necessarily open himself up to really try to sub him. So I think that gave him a lot of like leeway, even if he escapes, to like, oh, now he has to repass my guard and then score mount or back mount just to beat me.
You gotta make 2 positional changes,
which is way too hard to do with like 2 minutes left.
No, it's just, you're not gonna, unless something crazy happens.
Yeah,
it'll be a crazy
against the guy with that good of a guard. It's probably not happening.
Absolutely, yeah. So Levi progresses. Lightweight final. We have Levi Jones Leary is defeating Mateus Gabriel 4-2. Yeah, this is where it gets ugly. There are 3 double penalties from like double guard pulls.
Mm-hmm. I was like, are you serious? Are we gonna get a double DQ for an $85,000 purse? The biggest purse that we can think of in grappling. Is somebody really not going to stand up here? And we're lucky enough that Mateus Gabriel goes, okay, I'll stand up. But it was just, this is the match that kind of gave me concern for Levi Jones Leary, like moving forward, because we've now seen him get double DQ'd, and we saw him ride the line.
Levi stands up. Mateus, Mateus tried to invert to take the back, and Levi reads it.
He stands up before he can roll, yeah.
Right.
But it's pretty nuts, like, 3 penalties and they both still double pull. The ref could have called it, in my opinion, but Levi kind of crab rides and looks like he's trying to ankle lock. So I think that kept the ref from calling it.
If you're going for the foot lock, then like the timer doesn't end until
they
the
clear
foot lock is cleared if no one's up. So it's a super risky. That's the metagame right now.
Yeah, for sure. But it's still like neither one of them conceded to like try to stay standing, which is nuts. After 3 penalties, it's like, I don't know. You're kind of rolling the dice with fate to try to go full again.
Anything else happens? Not if anything else happens in your match, and a penalty is scored, like you've lost $85,000. Like that's a really tough like.
And then the other thing too is like now you're also, when you do these penalties, you have 20 seconds to make something happen,
right?
And you're forcing yourself to do kind of dumb shit because you don't really have a choice. Like once you commit to the double guard pull, now it's like you have to go for that sweep, and this is kind of what happens. Like Mateus Gabriel goes for a sweep that was not completely tight, and Levi doesn't have to do much. Like it was amazing timing, and there's a lot of technique behind it, but it wasn't like Levi had to fight through something. He just stands up.
He got like a free 2 basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So
you've got to play the game, but man, like it. That causes me some concern. If the ref sees it a little differently, it's like, cool, you just lost $85,000. If you're gonna do that, like,
I wonder what they would have done on a double DQ. I wonder if he was hesitant to call it because it's the finals. Like both these guys are guard players. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, call a double DQ? Like, who wins the money?
Honestly,
it's not like IBJJF or something.
Honestly, in Korea, I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Yeah,
so like
it would have been. I wouldn't say it would be the wrong call.
Yeah,
like for an entertainment standpoint, maybe.
I have a feeling like these other countries that are putting these tournaments on, like we've seen double DQs for high profile people in UAE JJF.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if Korea also was like, man, we're not paying you like 10 grand for this shit. You guys knew the rules. This is a clear violation. Like,
fair.
So
it just gives me concern that like that there's that limited like willingness to modulate a game plan, even like that close to complete disqualification when the stakes are that high, like a world level and at like an $85,000 purse level. Once again, he gets it done.
Yeah.
But it's like that, like there's something there that's like, man, you're riding that line so close. Like, do you not have another option there?
Like on the flip side, I kind of like it because then now it's like, okay, anybody who goes against him from here on out has to pass his guard.
Yeah.
Like everyone's been put on notice. Anyone close to my size, if I play guard, I'm probably going to win. What are you going to do about it? I kind of dig that mentality.
No, it's really cool. Like that part is cool, but like it just gives me concern where it's like, okay, you get a guy that like,
and the thing is that it's not 100% on Levi because like
we
heard Murillo all night, and he wasn't saying like he wasn't telling him to do anything different. I could hear Murillo all night.
You can always hear Murillo. Like do what you're doing, or however Murillo sounds.
Yeah, like Brazilian. Fucking Darth Vader Cookie Monster.
Deepest voice ever.
So smooth.
Yeah. So anyway,
Levi actually did a really cool interview with John Evans, the guy in commentary, on the day before. It was like a walk and talk interview. I thought it was really insightful and really cool. I really enjoyed it.
I like Levi a lot. I have high hopes for him, and he's just showing his potential now. So let's
wins that cashola.
Let's move on to heavyweights. We got Nikolas Mercalli defeating Tim Spriggs by choke from the back. So this is the match, Maine. I was telling Maine about this. Mercalli basically yanks Tim Spriggs into an omoplata.
Yeah, Mercalli pulling aggressive. Shocker.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, it's wild to me. I was telling man, I was like, man, like Mercalli's dumb strong. He's just like,
Sure.
I have the sleeve grip. I'm going to slowly pull you into an omoplata, and there's not shit you can do about it.
That was crazy. That was like, oh my god! Like,
Before
no one pulls Spriggs down. Like no one postures.
before the
Spriggs
almost
down
sweep
like that.
happened, like Spriggs had a couple of good like pressure pass, like over under attempts where he had like the gi skirt pulled out and stuff. But man, like how good is Mercalli's guard that like he still swept through it? That's nuts.
Yeah. No, he's baller, dude. His Mercalli is, I think, one of the most dangerous grapplers out there.
For
right
sure.
now.
About it. Like I think in the gi, I'm trying to think of someone who is more dangerous. Like there are other guys that can beat. There are guys that can beat Mercalli. He can be beaten, but
also not like Josh was talking about like all this shit. He's like, oh yeah, all these guys have beaten him. I was like, man, you have to go pretty far back, and if you
Right.
just count the people that Mercalli has subbed in the past year,
that's the thing though. Like we
Right.
talk about him being one of the most dangerous guys in the gi. It's
Yeah.
like in 2018, if he beats you, he subbed you. Now there are guys that beat him, but he subs so many guys, and he subs guys at the highest level, and that's just crazy. Like
Yeah.
there's very few guys that can submit high level guys in finals, in semifinals. Like that's the crazy thing about Mercalli.
Yep.
And it's just
Absolutely.
ludicrous that he can do that to high level guys, because like you just don't see a lot of high level guys subbing regularly other high level guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this case, he just keeps moving and working his game. So he gets the omoplata sweep, and Tim tries to turtle. Mercalli reads it and beats him to the roll, takes the back, gets a bow and arrow grip, and just rips it.
And just comes through and finishes it. I was like, holy shit, Mercalli is a scary, scary man.
Yeah.
Very good.
Next up, we have Herbart Santos versus Claudio Calisans.
This one was kind of difficult to see at the end. So
Yeah.
this was, I think it was honestly a really fun match.
There's a huge size difference. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Is it just height, or is it like
I don't
Herbert
know.
cut weight and Claudio didn't? Because it looked like two very different weight classes.
I have a feeling because there aren't many divisions that like whoever they invited, like there might have just been huge
Yo,
discrepancies.
for
Yeah.
$100,000, like I'll fight Buchecha.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be happy about it, but like I'll make whatever weight we're gonna meet at. Like cool. Like I mean, seriously.
Free trip to Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'll fight Buchecha. Like
Yeah.
my back's broken as like right now, but
Yeah.
I'll still fight Buchecha for the shot at $100,000.
So Claudio starts off pulling, and then later they get stood up, and he prefers to like stay standing with Herbert. They get stalling penalties, and then he's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do this." And Claudio pulls again. Herbert moves insanely fast, and basically, like as Claudio is pulling, he gets his knee in between his legs, and Claudio starts to invert to try to go for like a knee bar toe hold, and you live by the toe hold, you die by the toe hold sometimes.
That's one
man.
of my
Like,
favorite quotes
Yeah.
from you. Emil. It was like, you live by the toe hold, you die by the toe hold.
well, dude, yeah,
He had his legs triangled, which I think kind of left him really susceptible to the counter toe hold.
yeah.
Like Maine was saying, the angle is really bad. So even when we were watching, I was like, wait, did Claudio win? Because you can't see what Herbert is
It looked
doing.
like they went off bounds, and then I was like,
Yeah.
I think Claudio tapped. And then the angle, they never have an angle of the other side of Herbert has because when we were
Right.
watching it live, I
didn't know
fucking
who won.
called it because Claudio had the toe hold, and I was like, Herbert has a way better angle on his toe hold, and
Sure.
they kind of roll, and then the match stops, and I was like, did he get him? And
Right,
you were like,
can't
I don't
see his-
know.
yeah, because you can't see Claudio's hands because he's trying to toe hold him back.
Well, the camera's also looking at Claudio's toe hold, and
Yep.
then you can see probably like 3 or 4 seconds before Herbert gets it. You see Claudio's foot, like the angle on his knee changes, and you see Herbert change his hand position, and then start to pull in. I was like, oh, Herbert has a way better angle here, but
Yeah.
the camera then kind of moves in, and you're only looking at Calizan's toe hold, and I was like,
Yep.
yo, look at the other toe hold, because the other toe hold's really, really good, and then apparently he finishes, and I think it's a scream tap, because I didn't see
Yeah, it was a
him
verbal
at
tap.
all.
It was a verbal tap.
And then, dude, Herbert low-key is one of the best footlockers in the gi. Like, if you look, I looked at it, I had an internet argument on Reddit a couple weeks ago, and I was looking at, like, other footlockers, the guys that are, like, really, really good. And I kept coming across Herbert. I was like, he has all these knee bar wins and footlock wins, and, like, that 50-50 knee bar he hits, I don't think he hit it here, but he's really, really good at footlocks in the gi.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell in his defense, too. Claudio looked like he had a calf crush at some point. And he also had like a couple of knee bar injuries.
The calf
Herbert
crush looks deep. He looked
right.
super relaxed.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Herbert looks so calm, and then he battled out of the grips kind of like systematically, like as if like this is not going to tap me. Like he looks over at his corner one point, kind of shakes his head like, nah, it's not gonna.
Yeah, just like he looked over like meh, like
he looked so nonplussed.
Didn't look worried, which is like, and that's like if you've been in that calf crusher, especially in the gi, like that's a pretty dangerous situation. That guy has to like get your skirt or get the like under your armpit grips and pull you down a little bit, and then like your knee is blowing apart, and he just looked like you said, like nonplussed, just. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna hang out here for a second.
That's a good indicator that like somebody understands the game or knows how to play it themselves. Is like somebody puts them in that same scenario and they're like, don't care.
That was crazy.
Yeah. So Herbart progresses with the submission. Next up, we have Kainan Duarte defeating Leandro Lowe, 2-1 on advantages. Great scrambles off the bat. Leandro gets a single leg, and Kainan's like, cool, I'm going to jump fucking arm and guillotine now. And Leandro clearly has to react. Like, it was a strong enough reaction that, although
I don't think he was going to get it, but like he forced the reaction.
He got the ad. It was enough. It was enough to get an ad for sure. And, you know, they go back to standing. They get 2 penalties each for stalling. Kainan pulls and is utterly unfazed by Leandro's like passing reputation. He's just like, yeah, whatever, cool.
He was super comfortable there in like kind of like a weird way. Like Leandro's a pretty dynamic and dangerous passer, but he was just like, okay, I'm gonna block the pass, turn here, get on the hip.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like where styles differ. Where like Leandro's super explosive and overwhelms people with athleticism. Where like Kainan's super strategic and like well thought out. Kind of speaking to what you were saying earlier, where he has this like very good game plan against everyone he goes against and implements it kind of to a T. Where like he can almost make a really exciting guy look boring.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He neutralizes people so well. It's insane. Like,
right.
It
really makes me wonder, like, I don't know, if this guy had like some personal trainer in some weird fantasy world where you put him in a blender and it's like, yeah, let's just throw like a bunch of explosiveness and change his game a little bit. Like, could he just thrash dudes more even than he's even doing now? Like,
oh yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm always impressed by his like ability to stick to a game plan.
Yeah.
Like, he never deviates.
And that's why I think we're the most hot on him kind of as he goes into black belt here, because like the guys that we see that are really, really good and can stick to a game plan, like I'm giving Levi Jones Leary shit for this, but like, I don't know, Duarte, like he seems to stick to a game plan in a way
I think his game plans are different too.
Yeah.
It's not that he pulls on everybody and it's not that he passes everybody. It's
like,
that he has a specific game plan for each like matchup he has. At least it seems that way to me.
What will give me the most success against this guy here, given the stylistic matchup and the strengths and weaknesses?
That's the thing, exactly. Like he's good all around. Like he's
there's no place you can pull him out of his game where it's like, oh man, he's weak like X, Y. Like the only thing you could say is like the footlock game.
Even then, I'm like, I wonder truly, like,
I feel like if he knew that like there was a really good leg, like but if he knew there was a really good leg locker in his division, I feel like he would have a very specific grip battle game plan for that person.
Exactly.
And could probably implement it.
Yeah. And, you know, he even said it when we interviewed him, but like, he's like, yeah, I would absolutely like win against Lachlan again. Although he didn't even say Lachlan. He was like, that guy.
That guy. He called him that guy. I would absolutely win against that guy again. But it was like not like a confidence. It was it was like I would go in with a better and different game plan there, like knowing what I know now, and I would implement like what I needed to implement.
Yeah.
So
Kainan's dope, basically. End of story. Adolfo Vieira defeats Anderson Muniz by Katagatame.
I was actually really impressed with Muniz here. Like, again, he's a hot star purple belt, won double gold last year, now brown belt, and was giving Adolfo some problems here for him at the beginning of this match.
Yeah, it's true. And, I mean, what we see is Adolfo going heavy over-under. I mean, just crushing over-under. Actually, one of the commentators had a really good comment that I really liked, which is like, if you're in the guard and you're pushing, that means that you're only defending. And I was like, damn, that's a really good observation. But like,
I was trying to think of like an instance where that's like not the case, and I was like,
not the high level. There's really not a whole lot of like pushing sweeps that get anyone to like,
and
even then hip up sweep somebody. Like,
it's like a quick, it's like a bump. It's not like
it's explosive.
You're not like you're not gonna like out.
You're not gonna arm push sweep somebody.
And
at that level,
and that's exactly what we saw. We saw Adolfo just sapping Muniz's energy just with this crush.
This is the match you were talking about, Maine, where there's kind of a scramble out of bounds. that Muniz scored 2 on like really quickly.
Oh, look, this match.
Yeah, he ended up on top, but it looked like Rodolfo kind of would have made it a scramble, but then they stopped it and
So
gave him the 2.
That
and
was
reset
weird.
him.
Like they came out of bounds.
Yeah.
And then like they kind of like Rodolfo's like ass like hit the mat,
Uh-huh.
and then they immediately called 2 for it. And I was like, that was kind of like
it was quick. They
that was a
reset
really
it right
quick
after the 2 call also, so it was kind of like, I would have liked to see that play out, but there wasn't enough mat space.
Right.
And
And
the
then
same thing in that match. Like
Rodolfo
you were
gets
saying,
the sweep, and then it's like
he gets a pass.
pass, and it's
Yeah.
like
It looked like definitely like I got excited because it was like
Points.
this is a glimpse of kind of old Rodolfo, like slow, grindy
Yeah.
pressure passing that got me like real excited. Like, oh my god, if he can do this to everyone, I'll be so fucking stoked.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the Rodolfo from like 2011 that I modeled a lot of my really crappy version of a game off of. But yeah, if he could do that to everyone, I was getting like really excited.
Yeah, it was absolutely savage. And basically, Rodolfo, is doing this crushing passing, is in 3/4 mount, and Rodolfo windshield wipers into mount in perfect arm triangle position, and he cuts across to get the choke with less than 20 seconds of the match. It was great. It was phenomenal to watch.
yeah, it was like right at the end. It was like whenever guys go for sub in the last like 30 seconds, I'm always like, is it a Hail Mary? But you watch them kind of lock. I was like, this is actually like a really dangerous arm triangle. If anything gets a tap, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
it's legit.
So on to the heavyweight semifinals. Are you boys ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
My body's ready for all the shit I'm about to talk.
Oh my god.
We got to see a rare combination Herbart fucking appearance in Nikolas Mercalli defeating, if you can call it that, not anything against Mercalli, but just the weirdness of this, defeating Herbart Santos by submission. What the fuck happened?
I love that like all of us have different takes on this match. So okay,
Ooh.
let's talk about the match first. Let's talk about what was happening. So Herbart looked good.
This match
Mercalli-
was, by the way, this match was
a great
incredible
match.
up until the very end.
Yeah.
It was a fucking
And this
great
was
match.
this was Herbart playing into Mercalli's game, but like not losing and like winning
No.
some of the exchanges.
Oh, winning,
Like,
straight up sweeping Mercalli. Like,
Yeah.
he has an awesome sweep basically off of a scramble where Mercalli was trying to do a reverse top half pass and Herbart bridges and just fucking gets up like amazing. Mercalli sweeps back. Herbart counters with an omoplata. Like it's just I literally have holy
This-
shit in my notes.
This
'cause it
is
was, like,
what
fucking
Herbart
great.
looks like when he's on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had almost like a toe hold attempt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a really sick scramble.
This was a crazy match. And then
So it's during the toe hold attempt.
Yep.
So
Herbart has
is-
a toe hold on Mercalli.
Yes.
And what ends up happening is Mercalli starts he straightens his leg in order to alleviate the toe hold.
Change
And
the angle on the foot so the toes don't go into the butt.
when he stretches his leg down, he's by the way facing, it's like a north south.
Yeah, he's facing Herbart's
Yeah.
toes.
So they're like it's not like Mercalli can see what the fuck is happening, except that he knows he's being toe holded, and so he extends his leg
and kind of shifts his weight and drops down too.
His knee, when his leg extends, hits Herbart's bottom jaw a little
Was
bit.
it the jaw or the forehead?
It was the jaw.
Oh, it was the jaw. Okay.
Yeah, I even have the timestamp. Like at 5:02, you can watch it.
So hits him in the face with the knee, and Herbart like goes like
He goes full Herbart.
He goes,
is what
what the
happened.
fuck?
Like-
and then the positions change, and then Mercalli and Herbart are talking like, and they're talking to the ref like,
Herbart
they already-
literally has his arms
He got his
raised.
hands up, his like legs straight down, like in side control. Like he's like starfished out. Like what's going on? Why haven't you stopped the match?
Yeah, he's raising his hands like,
He's like,
what's
I just
going
got knee in
on?
the face.
Mercalli is like,
He's just sitting there talking to him like, dude, we're still going.
yeah, we're
Like,
still going. The ref fucking like blows the whistle or whatever and like calls stop at least and is like penalizes them and is like keep going.
Yeah.
And at that point I was like, okay, cool, that's a good message to send.
For
like
sure.
they're gonna keep going. No, no. Fucking Herbart is gonna sit there with his arm raised,
Okay, hold up. So
continuing to talk shit.
if you haven't been listening to this show for years, Herbart Santos is a world beater, 2017, I think black belt world champion, amazing. But he has a tendency to like quit. I
Well,
think is
just
what-
there was
and-
a weird.
and-
There was like a 6 to 12 month reign where he had a few matches that ended peculiarly.
He'd like tap to mount, or he'd like get a little triangle and he'd like tap to the triangle, and like he was getting beat by guys, but I was like, maybe not on his level. And he was at a match on ACBJJ, and Robert Drysdale was the commentator, and Robert Drysdale the entirety of the time that he was there called him Herbart Santos. And then Herbert had one of these weird matches, and so
just
as a
the
result,
most hilarious fucking name.
whenever Herbert kind of like quits like this, we call him Herbart. He is two people. You have Herbert Santos, the world beater, like amazing black belt, and you have Herbart, who is the alternate persona of like gonna quit under pressure. And so that's where that's where Herbart
a long
comes from.
time. Basically for 2019 and even a little bit beyond then, Herbert had been more or less back to his true form. Like he'd been doing really fucking well.
Yeah, he looks really good. And he looked amazing in this match. Like this match he was on pace to potentially beat Mercalli. And like beat
it was
Mercalli,
still back and forth for sure.
And beat Mercalli in the places that like Mercalli beats in the scrambles, in the passing sequences, in the transitions, like all of the places where Mercalli just stomps through top level competition, and we've seen him just put a beat down on like world level top guys.
Yeah, how many people sweep him back after he swept them from De La Riva?
Yeah, never.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Like, he gets on top and he's like, ooh, I'm here. And it's like,
yeah.
And so that tells you how good Herbart Santos is. He's engaged in a fight that Mercalli wants to have, and he's beating him in certain areas of that fight, and it's competitive.
And Herbart has put on 2 pretty good submission attempts against him too.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
like the toe hold was
together,
deep.
yeah.
The toe hold was deep. The omoplata was good. He basically ditches the omoplata to go for the toe hold.
Yeah.
Which actually Josh Weinstock incidentally loves that fucking move. So
then Mercalli gets on top in mount, and then basically grabs like the day one white belt Americana and like turns his arm on Herbart.
He's like milk tapping it while they're still talking. Like he's still looking at him like, are you gonna tap to this? Because like I want to keep fighting, but you don't.
Yeah. Yeah,
and he turns it like, are we going to fight?
Mercalli actually doesn't want to do it this way. Like you can see he's uncomfortable and Herbart is,
and he doesn't even like crank it. He like turns it over and Herbart like verbal taps like I quit.
Yeah,
and it's what I thought it was. It didn't seem like I tap. It seems like I quit. Like I'm not going to do this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's one of those things where like we're gonna lower belt taps an upper belt. And they're like, okay. Instead of just saying tap, they're just like, yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, like you lost. Like he tapped you, you lost.
Yeah,
but like at the same time, don't
you gave up. Yeah, like, that was.
But he gave up here, and it's like it's a verbal tap via submission, but it's like he quit.
Yeah,
and it's like this weird like. Because the beginning of the match was so good, and because he put on such a good performance there, like I want to kind of like really stress that like watch the first half of this match.
Yeah, it's great.
But then like the submission, like look at the submission and know like he quits more than like he gets submitted, because it kind of matters in the context of the match. Like
I went back and watched when his head got hit multiple times to be like, what is he?
I thought he got jacked when he got kneed.
No, it wasn't that bad.
When I saw it,
really
he gets
was
like
not bad.
stomped in the face.
It seemed like pretty par for the course, like getting kneed in practice or something.
Yeah, we've all taken way worse from a fucking white
You had
belt.
your skull caved in once.
Yeah.
Like
well, I'm just even just like from a regular fucking white belt, it's like being way too fucking spazzy. Like,
the thing that stood out to me was after the match, like it looked like Herbert was kind of finger wagging him, like, "Hey man, like that was grimy." And then like, I mean, obviously I don't speak Portuguese, so I can't read lips in Portuguese, but this is kind of the body language it seemed to me. And then Mercalli was like, "What do you want me to do? The ref didn't call it. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm gonna win if like that's the option given to me."
Yeah.
And then Herbert kind of like pats him on the chest, like, "Yeah, I understand." And they seemed cool about it afterward. But it was weird for him to kind of like big brother him, like, "Hey man, well like that if this didn't happen, I would," you know what I mean? Like to go back and like still try to protect your ego to save face.
It was an interesting thing, and
well,
honestly, these guys have pretty serious beef with each other. So it was honestly, I did appreciate that they both seemed like like at least cool after the match, because we've seen Herbert fight a motherfucker in the stands before. Like I didn't know if he was gonna go Felipe Pena brothers on Mercalli on the ref or something like that and like cause a fight. I was like, we're about to see another Herbert fight in the stands. I mean, and then they were cool. And I was like, you know what? Honestly, if these two guys are cool now, like they're probably not happy with each other. I haven't seen Herbert on social media.
You really want to have a fight with Mercalli where a ref cannot stop it? Like, like that's what you want to do? Like,
that's a good point.
Do you really want to step to Mercalli? But anyway, that's the match. Go and watch it. You'll see. It
was dope. Like it was a really awesome
good match.
It's cool to see a dude push Mercalli like this, and like Mercalli like have some real opposition in the areas that we've seen him perform really well in.
Yep.
Yeah. And not like lock him down, but like literally like out scramble him and turn him. It was a really cool match, and it shows like cool pieces in both of these guys' games. I think Mercalli will take this as like a learning experience, like he's taken all his previous matches, and we'll see like an even better version of him. And I hope that Herbart like gets his shit together and like comes back and shows that like he can perform at that level, because he obviously can.
Potential wise, this is like the best case or best use case for like sports psychology.
Yeah.
Like this dude has all the potential in the world and just like beats himself. Yeah. And it's like hard to watch just because you're like, fuck, man, I know how good this guy can actually be.
You're literally a black belt, like world champion class level.
Yeah.
Guy. You've won the worlds before.
Yeah.
Like, you're that good.
I know we had like a long stretch of like talking shit about him, but like he's really fucking good. And like it's almost like tough love. Like I want to see you get back to the form that we know you can be in. So what the fuck? Get your shit together.
Yeah. 100%.
So really good match aside from the weirdness that comes with an Herbart Santos match.
Next up, we have Kainan Duarte defeating Rodolfo Vieira 2-0. Yeah, there's a lot of Kainan in guard here. Like, you know, we talked about Kainan sticking to his game. He basically, at one point, uses a hook to elevate Rodolfo, who's trying to standing pass, and Kainan puts him into a saddle position, like knocks him over.
That was a nifty saddle entry. That was a beautiful entry into that saddle.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, shit. Like, this is a really similar saddle entry we saw him do versus Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So not similar entry, but like it was the same, like really quick dynamic entry into the saddle.
So he threatens Kainan threatens a toe hold once he gets to the saddle, and he just immediately stands up for the sweep. He's like, again, brilliant game plan.
Yeah.
Some other people would maybe see like red and try to go for the finish on something that's not very tight or very good. But Kainan sees the shortest path to victory and he takes it. And
gets that top position and
Boom.
like beautiful sequence there.
I think on the other side of the mat too, Vieira didn't look as confident as we've seen him in like years past. It's like all those gripping sequences, he kind of looked a little outclassed. Well, I shouldn't say outclassed. Like he looked tentative is probably the best way to put it.
He looked a little slower on the jump. Like Kainan was like super like, I want this, I want to move here.
Yeah, he didn't
and
seem
you
like
saw
he was...
Rodolfo like being a little reactionary with the way that he was grabbing the grips and like not initiating a lot of the gripping sequences in his favor.
He was kind of getting beaten with like a lot of like switches from the collar to the ankle de la Hiva. Or collar and sleeve de la Hiva. It's like he didn't really do a whole lot. Like he addressed the grip when it came, but he didn't like re-grip anything to start his passing like we've seen him in the past.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it was like being tentative, being back in the gi again, or if it was like he may have been getting lost in the new school game or like the meta. But he definitely didn't look as good as he looked in the past, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, sometimes like all it takes is someone to take a non-intuitive position or grip for you to be like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, like why would you want that?
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden you're like, what are they trying to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
Dude, a bunch of our guys in our gym are playing like lapel games right now, like hard. And I'm constantly doing like, as more of a no-gi guy, I'm constantly like, how do I break this? Like, why do you have that?
Yeah.
Wait, I feel like a white belt. Like, why do you have that? What are you doing with that? Why do you want that? Do you want that? Or do you want me to take that from you? Like, what are we doing here?
Right. No, 100%. I think it's very easy to get lost like that. So
it was a really cool match, and you saw how good Duarte was. Again, switching up his game plan.
Yep.
And like in that little area, like you can see him enter the footlock really well, and then go, oh cool, 2 points to sweep. Gets the
yeah. So Kainan progresses to the finals. It's Kainan Duarte versus Nikolas Mercalli.
I was hyped for this shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And here again, you see Kainan like they actually both start off apparently kind of conserving energy. Like neither of them comes out like, which is for Kainan we kind of expect that. For Mercalli, it's like, oh, interesting. Like
he's not a slow starter. Typically.
No, he's
like that dude comes to like I'm gonna win quick.
Right, absolutely. Like we'll see Nikolas pull, but usually like within 90 seconds he's starting to fucking
he pulls
work
to
something.
a sweep or some sort of submission for sure.
Yeah. So they actually get a stalling penalty. So it starts off slow. Mercalli starts going hard on the De La Hiva, and Kainan answers with a leaping knee slice. And he gets past Mercalli's like, so actually this and a couple other of the leaping guard passes I think are what at least gave like the overall impression for like maybe more activity on.
Yeah, so if you don't know, if there's kind of a relatively decent controversy online with like how this went. A lot of people online give this to Mercalli.
Right.
And so we're talking about pieces in this match when we break it down of like pieces of action because this is where it's going to be decided via the decision.
Kainan ends up winning by decision. So just to let you know what the decision was, but there's a little bit of back and forth. Like I know Maine and I think you said Josh kind of agreed that
and a couple other folks I've talked to have actually been like, Mercalli took that. I was like,
I could see it either way.
It was a very close match, but just like I think Mercalli, like although kind of was more active, Mercalli got closer to stuff.
Yeah, but
I think it depends on what you score more. In my opinion, it's like if you were like one of those advantaged like super sport oriented people, I could see why you would say Mercalli was attacking more, because it seems like he made Kainen's butt touch a couple times. He kind of had like decent entries on sweeps. He didn't finish any of them, obviously neither one scored. But then it's like, well, if you value what each position means, then it's like, okay, well, Kainen never got swept and stayed on top the entire time.
I get it, but I'm saying from an IBJJF sport perspective, those almost sweeps are going to be worth more.
But it's like it's almost like an almost. It wasn't enough to get an ad.
Right.
So I don't know. Do you count that like an almost?
What happened is, if you look at it, if you're going to score it how the referee scored it, that knee cut slice, that jumping knee slice pass is what wins him the match.
There's
but that's not an ad either.
Hold on. No. There's a number of things. There's that. Kainen actually throws on another arm and guillotine.
Yep.
And then as time expires, Kainen does another leaping guard attempt. So it's hard. It's hard to say.
It's a close match. If you don't give ads for stuff, it's like you go to the decision, and then if the decision doesn't end up your way, it's like it's one of those like there's definitely arguments on either side to be made, but you can't be mad at like for sure. It was robbed. It's like no, it's a close decision that may have gone the other way. Like
With all that said, I probably would have given it to Mercalli, but I mean that's just I think it comes down to kind of like what you prefer. I'm looking at the sport end of it. I think Mercalli attacked more,
right?
But I'm not mad at the decision by any means.
No, I saw kind of when I was like, okay, that's reasonable. Like there was no unreasonable outcome here.
Yeah,
and then he wins one of the most. You got any more about the match?
Yeah, well, I just remember the leaping knee slice kind of made it past Mercalli's legs, and what saved Mercalli was that he held the pants grip, and that's when he does a tech stand up. So yeah, it was really close.
It was close.
Yeah,
it was really close.
It was super close.
Was not a non-scoring pass though.
Yeah.
Then he wins the most baller-ass trophy of all time.
Oh my god, these fucking.
How do we not talk about that?
You
yet?
were talking shit about the trophies initially, Emil.
Initially, I was like, I don't know, but like within like an hour, I was like, okay, these are actually really fucking dope.
They kept panning over to the trophies, and immediately from the jump, like I'm all for. Like I thought initially when I was like a lower belt, they're like, oh, the swords are stupid, and like and I always thought the swords were dope, but like the ones that win like the hammers stuff, I was like those are stupid. And then as I've gotten more in jiu-jitsu, I was like, yo, any other thing that's not like I won a medal, like any other kind of trophy is baller.
Yeah, how about a fucking elvish fucking helm, dude?
With a spider on the face of it, like the
fucking
spider
mask
logo.
of Rivendell or whatever the fuck.
Dude, that was an like that's and they both won it. And there's a cool picture of them,
Levi
and Kainen with the two masks on, with like Spartan masks, basically Greek style Spartan masks with a spider on the front, and all the confetti, and they're in their gis, and like they're next to each other in both white gis. Like it's a really cool, like it could be an iconic picture for jiu-jitsu. Like those baller $100,000 spider masks.
That's the thing, is it almost doesn't matter because like those masks have $100,000 prizes riding with them, so that's super fucking legit, man. Like those. The event overall was really awesome. The production was fucking dope. They had really dramatic music for walkouts, lights.
They did
going.
have one thing. There's only one thing that I didn't find I didn't really enjoy as much was there was a big break between the semis and the finals. And it was like a 35-minute break.
Yeah, and they went through like every match and like highlights, but I wish they would have had like some B-roll or something.
Yeah, or like commentary or something on that. It was a big section.
It was just slow-mo. It was just slow-mo with like music playing in the background of like highlights of each match. Also, which was good as a recap, but
like 25 for us.
Yeah.
It was like really late, which is again, like I just wish that they would have put something. That was like literally my only gripe with it, is that there was a break between the semis and finals.
When I watched it again, that made me wonder, like, I wonder if the production staff was like, hey, we're not going to film any B-roll or add any interviews because we're going to keep this stuff rolling. Like, we're going to keep it moving. Like, we're not going to have, like, spliced-in footage to take a bunch of time between matches. It's just going to be, like, match to match to match, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. The pacing, I mean, everything was perfect. And
right,
then there was that just gap there, which I agree with the gap, because you've got to give both, like, red corner and your blue corner pretty even time, where it's like you can't have one guy that had like a baller match 10 minutes ago go against a guy that's had a 25-minute rest. It's like, okay, that guy's going to be going in diminished. So it's like you've got to even it up, and you do that by giving guys time, but it's like I just wish they would have had another piece of production content in the middle there.
I wonder what they showed at the event live, like during that time. Like, it was just like intermission on the screen, and then everybody's kind of
usually
like chilled
that's
out.
what they do, and it drives me nuts because promoters haven't figured this out yet.
Yeah,
like sometimes they'll put in super fights, whatever, but like
I think that would have been a good move.
Yeah, you know,
I would like to see like something in between, because like for a matchup like this, like I want both guys to come in like having had adequate rest time for a finals match that's worth $85,000
for sure.
So it's like I'm actually okay. Like I wasn't happy with it.
The break time is fine. It's not the break time. It's like the filler for the fans' perspective. Like, what are you going to put in there for entertainment for us? Not necessarily. No one's going to say like, yeah, you subbed your guy, you had a war, go fight each other.
Yeah.
Like, of course they should have the time off.
No,
Even
you-
like just like talking to like some of that. So just give me something in the middle as a viewer, so that like
Yes.
you give the athletes the adequate time they need. And I'm happy
sure.
they gave the athletes the time. I'm happy to sit through it if that's what it means to get the athletes to give the performance that they need to.
For sure.
But I would have much rather had something there.
And I still prefer that over like 5-minute breaks of the same commercial over and over again.
Dude, we've had a couple of those where it's like
Yep.
they played the same interstitial piece. Like I'll take blank space.
We've seen
over-
dead air. We've
Yeah.
seen
We've seen
like,
dead air. We've seen a lot of stuff. So like,
So I'll take
honestly,
that. I'll take an event that keeps rolling through everything, and
Yeah,
then
the
gives me
highlights
like
were cool.
Yeah, and
But
then
I
gives
just
me
wish
just.
they
Did
were-
they
highlights,
tell you
but-
how much time? I didn't watch it live.
No.
Okay, that. Yeah.
We kind of just
There's a
it was-
couple things.
It was 12 o'clock at night, and we were sitting on my couch
being
going
like, what?
like
Yeah.
they're gonna do it eventually.
You need
Yeah.
like if you're a promoter, like there are promoters listening to this, but like for real, like just give an amount of time and have a timer, like at least
Yeah, that
so
would
people
help.
can go and like eat something or whatever.
Yeah, because I don't
Yeah.
want to miss the finals match.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
because
course.
it was baller. So again, it was a great event. Like if you have not watched it, this is an event that's honestly probably like worth getting a month of flow to go and see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a top
This
tier
was
event.
a top tier event. This supports grappling in a huge way. These are some of the
Is there-
biggest names in the sport.
Is there another? I'm trying to think. Is there another event that pays out this much? Is this
No.
the biggest paying? So this is the biggest paying jiu-jitsu event,
Dude, this pays as much as like ADCC.
like total, right?
Total.
Yeah, with
I'm
super
saying,
fights.
like in
Yeah.
total, this pays almost as much as ADCC.
Yeah.
Like ADCC pays for a bunch of other stuff and does some other things.
Yeah.
But like from a single payout, I cannot think of a single other event ever in the history of jiu-jitsu that has paid out a single athlete $100,000 in one event. Now, there's rumor that the ACBJJ contracts could go up to $100,000 over the course of events, but like from a single event, fighting 3 guys in one night, making $100,000, this is unprecedented.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
should support it.
I mean, this is just this is our sport growing is what this is.
It's great. And Spyder's
and they
putting
put
it
on an
and,
awesome
like,
event.
I love Spyder. I love it to do this. I love that they can get the top guys in the world to put on these sort of matches, and like this is what a true showcase of the highest level looks like, and I'm all for it. I want these guys to keep doing it. I love covering it every single year. I hope it's successful for them, and like I'm gonna do Spyder gi.
Word.
Anything else, guys?
That's it.
All right, this is for Spyder. So on to our recap of GrappleFest 7. This event took place in the UK and was headlined by Craig Jones versus Adam Wardzinski. Again, in the Rewind Redact section of the news, these guys have actually not faced each other before, like we errantly said last week. But I still think we picked the matchup correctly. We thought Craig was going to take it via sub, and he did. Gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this isn't a redact exactly, but like I feel like I've been down on Craig Jones lately, and he has been fucking killing it lately, so it's been awesome to watch him kind of back and like true to form.
Dude, he finishes Wardzinski with like an inverted triangle armbar combo.
I think it was an inverted reverse triangle too.
Yeah,
I was
sorry,
like,
inverted reverse. It's one of the weird triangles where it's like you have a reverse triangle, you have an inverted triangle, you have like a wrong side triangle, you have like an inverted. It's just he finishes him with one of those triangles.
I only say that because not out of technicality of what it is, but just like how much adjustment and like
the space you have to make the adjustment.
Yeah, he and Craig Jones is like on this weird inverted triangle, and you can see him adjusting his legs to get the finish. And I thought, usually when I have a triangle like this, for me anyway, maybe it's just like how my short ass legs are, but like I almost never get the choke, and I end up just cranking an arm.
Yeah.
I use it to isolate an arm, but like Craig just fucking cranks it and gets the fucking choke.
It's kind of hard from the angle to see. It's kind of hard to see if he gets it with the tap, with the triangle, with the arm. It looked like the legs. I thought he
looked
choked
like
him.
it looked like a choke to me too.
But-
This happens dumb quick.
Minute 20.
Yeah.
Minute 20 into a 15-minute match. Craig Jones is like, I got places to be. I got people to sub.
So it happens off of basically like they get restarted standing. Adam pulls to seated guard, and Craig does a rolling Kimura pass.
Mm-hmm.
And so from the rolling Kimura, he's just able to land into this inverted triangle
He gets
position. And so
beautiful. I mean, beautiful.
awesome.
Like, it's super cool. I love seeing Craig. I love watching Adam, too. But, like, it's cool to see Craig back on that. Like, dude, Craig at GrappleFest subs dudes.
yeah.
Like, he has a win over Argis, Virenica Choke. He has this one. I think the previous, I forget who he spelled, but, like, dude subs dudes at GrappleFest. He's now the under 100 kilogram champion for
Me too.
GrappleFest.
He's subbing people in ADCC as well. Like,
Yeah.
it's just awesome again to see.
I love seeing a high level guy play that sub game because it's entertaining to watch and it's like it's super quick. It's a highlight reel match.
Hell yeah.
So what do we want to talk about next? We'll talk about the Rotolo brothers. We'll talk about Dante Leon versus Marcelo Andre.
We'll work down to the Rotolo brothers. We got Dante Leon defeating Marcio Andre via judge's
Dude,
decision.
they're both only 24. Did you know that? The commentator said that, and I was like, that can't be right. Marcelo can't be 24. And I was like, holy shit, they both are 24.
Dante
You
again.
ever feel old for no reason?
Because
That's a
I
pretty
am
good
old.
reason.
I'm 35, dog. Like,
Bro, are you 35 now?
Yeah.
Do you have a birthday?
what?
You have a birthday? Recently?
No, I don't have a birthday. I don't have a birthday, man.
Like recently.
Been 35 for forever.
Did you recently get older?
No. My birthday's in the summer, man.
I mean,
so.
technically, we all recently got older.
Oh, shut up,
Are
Austin.
persistent.
Boo, boo. Yeah, no, it's incredible because like this match is like also Dante Leon. I've said this before. One of the reasons why I like him is like he can do everything. Like sometimes it's like really good guard. In this case,
We've seen him get so much better in the last like year. Or maybe it's not even better.
Dude.
We've seen him fighting higher level competition.
we saw him take Lucas Laprise back.
at ADCC.
Yeah, I mean he is beginning to get.
I
on
also
that
like
level.
his takedown game too.
Yeah, I was
Like,
about to
at the
say, so-
beginning, that body wrap takedown he
Yeah,
hits.
yeah. So Dante basically hits like a drag to a foot trip to a body lock takedown. He keeps the body lock and starts like scrambling to the back, and basically like he's able to get to Marcio's back a couple times. Like Dante spends the bulk of the match passing, and eventually they're stood up. Marcio pulls again, and he tries to knee bar Dante, and Dante again takes the back like a boss.
Dude, this is
goes
really
to
cool.
crucifix.
Yeah, the
like at
crucifix
the
was
very
cool.
end. Like he's just good all around.
There's a
man.
really cool sequence that I like here, and it's Dante's the only other guy to see that I've seen do this. Is he goes for like a double underpass, but instead of lifting Marcio up and like over, he basically slides underneath him and takes the back off of it.
Oh, Gary did that actually.
Yeah, Gary does it, but like it's very few guys do it. And it's like that's the way that I do that move, and I was like, I just thought it was stupid, and like I didn't think it was like that's the way I do it, but like it shouldn't actually work, but it kind of works. But like it's cool to see like Gary and him actually use that thing. I'm like, oh, cool, thank God, I'm actually doing something that has some legitimacy to it.
No, it's still stupid when you do it.
That's reasonable. That's reasonable. So really cool match, and
Yeah, great
dude,
match.
In my notes, it's like, Jesus, how fucking good is Dante Leon?
He's just fucking.
I can't wait to see more stuff. Like we know he's gonna headline stuff now. Like
Yeah.
NADCC, he's put on impressive performances. He's the king of the mat champion. Like,
Yep.
dude looks really good. I'm really excited to see continue to watch him at 24 only get better.
Speaking of Ute, we got Ty Rotolo defeating Tom Halpin by judge's decision. Yeah, so Ty Rotolo, the fucking prodigy. Like, how old is this kid? Like
I
16?
think he's 17 now.
Jesus Christ! Like,
17 years old, and now you're only fighting black belts no gi.
if you wanna watch a match that has at least 4 different kinds of really talented guard passes like in here, watch this match. Like these kids can do it all.
Dude, him and his brother do something really cool here.
So he just off the bat he hits a body lock pass. There are moments where they're doing like this stand on a leg passes.
The stand on leg pass. But what he does with stand on leg pass is, I want to talk about this specifically, is that he pummels his feet over, where basically he's windshield wipering his feet over the leg for the stand on the leg pass.
Yeah.
And he does it super dynamically and like super back and forth. And his balance there is, most guys when they do that, they have to like look down or they're trying to balance over. He's doing it where it's like, it's just a motion that he makes with his feet.
Yeah.
It's one of the most dynamic stand on the leg passes I've ever seen someone do. It's beautiful to watch. And he just has that leg pinned. Him and his brother does it too. And he has Thomas Halpin's leg pinned down to the mat while he's doing it and making those step overs.
and then also
repeatedly.
launching into knee cuts. So it's just like you need to know so many different guard defenses and have them ready at split second because
Right.
these kids are going to be basically
and he's
teleporting
fast,
all over
and he's
you.
going for the darts,
And he has
he's
those
hunting your head.
insanely long arms. Like I think their builds are really going to be a problem for people because they can basically and they like to grab your head from nearly any position.
Yeah.
Like so.
Well, it probably comes with training with Hanger so much. Like Hanger, I think, was the kids coach for a little bit at Atos. or he taught kids. I thought he did kids classes for a little bit, and like it makes sense that like Hanger's a grab your neck kind of guy. And the commentary talked about it a little bit, where it's like he's a grab your neck kind of guy, and so like both these dudes, their build they hunt the head super hard in nogi, and I think as they get better, more experienced, and more advanced, like we're gonna see that really come into play.
So off of these like insane passing combinations, twice Ty gets around Tom's guard, maybe even more than that.
I think a couple, way more than that.
So, he's able to windshield wiper to mount, go to side control, rotate to north-south, like just basically moving completely uninhibited. And there's a moment. Oh, here I have two more guard passes written down in here. He has a knee cut to Toriando. He hits a leg drag pass where he's able to get to mount.
This was a showcase of how good Ty Rotolo is.
I listed like a half dozen different passes in there, and he's doing it. Like usually we see like at the black belt level, people will have one or two good passes that they really stick to. This is just tremendous.
Thomas Halpin at one point does threaten the back. Like right towards the end, Rotolo gets a little overzealous with one of the passes, and Halpin kind of positions to the back really quickly, but Rotolo immediately gets the shoulders flat to the mat and starts the escape.
Yeah. It was a very dominant match for Ty Rotolo. He takes the judge's decision onto the next match with his brother, Cade Rotolo, versus Jeremy Skinner.
So this is the first time I've seen Cade compete in a while. I want to say he did the trials as well. I think that's the last time we covered him, but I could have been wrong about that. I know Ty did.
Yeah.
And we have not seen Cade. We have not covered Cade on the show in a little bit, and damn.
Yep.
What do you say?
It's a lot of similar stuff. Actually, I got to say Jeremy Skinner did a really this is a really entertaining match.
Yeah.
There are moments here where like Jeremy turtles, like don't turtle versus the Rotolo brothers, basically is what I've learned. Like we saw Kennedy Maciel try to do this and get Darce twice by Ty in ADCC. And yeah, sure enough, like these kids, again, their arms are dumb long. Like they can basically just throw them out there. I'm just like reminded, there's certain people that I roll with that I'm like, fuck, man, like the Darce is threatened from everyone. Jason is like this.
Yeah, I think if you have anybody who has like a really good front choke threat, it's so hard to play any sort of like guard, turtle, on your knees kind of game, because it's like, okay, cool, I have to always worry about where my head is, which jacks up where the rest of your limbs go.
Yeah, even in like half guard,
you've got to play at that weird that weird too far out space where it's like, I need to get enough in because my arms aren't long enough to get you, but I've got to get in, but then I've got to lean my head forward just enough where now if like you have a guy that's really into the Darce, they can jump their arms through for the Darce, and there's nothing that stops the hand from passing through. Same with the Anaconda. It's like you can pass your hands past like my neck joint, and so it's like I have nothing against me except the mat to stop it.
It's like they're making you make a tactical choice that they already have the answers to. It's like, expose a limb? No? Okay, cool. Expose your head.
Yeah.
And then it's like I have an answer for both of those things.
Yeah, and then on top of that, not only are people comfortable with it, but their limbs are just fucking alien.
Yeah, they're super long for the weight class anyway. Yeah. It's just like, okay, cool, good luck. You're really good at this Darce move.
Yeah.
Like, you're really good at passing, so like you're gonna have a grip on my head anyway, and then you're gonna come through, and like I'm gonna come up, and you're gonna get the Darce.
So after the first Darce, like there's just an onslaught of like alligator rolling. Surprisingly, Jeremy's able to pull out because like the Darce is not an easy choke to get. Like I would say I get out of probably 1 in every 10 Darce chokes. Like
I was really impressed with Skinner here on the Darce, because Skinner was basically able to get his arm down low and able to do that looping like single leg defense to the Darce through the rolls.
Yeah.
And for a good point for the first Darce, I thought it was a really, really good. And he's able to keep that kind of far distance out, where the next like you disincentivize keeping the Darce because you get far enough away where it's like you got to thread the guy all the way back through. And Skinner does a really good job here of blocking that Darce for a long period of time before Ty has to like let it go and go to something else.
And Skinner's able to do some really, like once he escapes, he has really good takedown attempts, and like really, does make this a very entertaining match. At one point, like towards the end, basically. Jeremy's kind of in a seated guard, and Cade goes for a leaping pass. And when I first looked at it, I thought it was like a leaping Kimura pass, the same way Craig Jones did. But then you go back and you look, and it's a leaping Darce pass, which is just fucking awesome.
Super rare to see.
Yeah,
Also, when's the last time you saw a leaping Darce back?
I'm gonna go with never for 5,000.
Yeah, it's just cool, man, because he hits it. You know, he's like they're that comfortable. They have that good of a a positioning for head control, and Kate is able to maintain and get the finish really quickly.
Super impressive performance from both Rotolo twins. Again, who do they fight now? You got to give them other black belts in the weight class. I think they're at 70.
Are they that big?
77.
I mean
73 kilograms. I think is what this was at because they can't make 66 anymore.
Ooh,
Nikki Ryan.
Nikki Ryan.
I kind of want to see the Ryan match. I was thinking about that versus Ty.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see the Nikki Ryan match, but we see Ryan compete so infrequently. Like I think honestly, Polaris or GrappleFest would probably have these guys. We've seen Ryan.
It's
I
probably
watch them on pretty much any event. Thinking about it, if they're one, I mean, maybe not a headliner, but they'd definitely be like on any event, and I'd watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's and I mean Ty did headline with Wagner, so
Wagner Hosher,
yeah.
So I mean, my guess is that like there's probably not that many black belt adults who are willing to take matches with them. Like Wagner was game, and even Wagner had to make a post about it like beforehand and after, where he was just like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna fucking take it. Like, who cares?" Like Wagner has that like I don't know.
He wants to fight the best guys. Like, and I think that's the attitude you should have. Like, okay, he's a young prodigy, but he's still one of the best guys. I want to fight him.
Right.
Yeah, it's super. There's a bunch of super interesting matchups now. I want these guys to get like purple, so that like at blue belt it's like, but like at purple belt it's like okay, it's like there's a little less of that stigma. It's like we all know how good they are.
I don't have that hang up, man.
I don't either.
I want to
like,
see, especially Nogi. Like, I want to see guys. I don't know. Clearly, they're on the level. I don't care. Like, you wouldn't say that same thing about Nick Rodriguez.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, now he's a pro belt, so he can fight in expert divisions technically.
Yeah,
like, who cares? He was already doing that stuff.
I
with
agree.
blue.
I feel like it's the higher the belts the guys get. If you're not a black belt, there's less hang up for the other high level guys to take
to
them.
incentivize
That's
the higher level
like,
guys.
I don't have that hang up, but it's like also we see enough of these guys like this where it's like I know how good they are.
There's like a no-win situation. It's like, cool, you beat a purple belt,
Right.
Or fuck, you just lost to a purple belt,
Right. So in this case, it's like two guys from the UK who like probably, this
Not
is
from
a
the
good.
UK. We just did this.
Oh, what? Okay.
Jeremy
sorry,
Skinner
I
is
apologize.
Australian, and Thomas Halpin is Irish.
UK junior, whatever.
Yeah.
Jesus. Oh.
Anyway,
I'm
Sorry,
super excited.
Sorry, just won an American
on a-
Revolutionary War, and then I'll respect you.
Jesus.
Oh my God. Austin
leaving it
is
in.
like
I'm leaving it in.
he's
I'm in an American
guesting
flag
and
hat,
he's stirring the fucking pot. He's like,
Sorry,
Man.
Mom. America
But
still loves you.
it's a UK card. My point is like it's a opportunity for these guys to. It strikes me as a lot easier in events like this to get matchups.
Yeah. I also did love that they were cornering each other, which is it's the
they
coolest
do
thing.
that.
Yeah.
In your
At
interview,
ADCC.
I think
they did
in
the
your
same.
interview with Ty, he said like one interview with Ty. I can't remember. He's like, "Man, my brother's gonna kill me." Basically, after this match, I made mistakes or whatever. Like, it's like, dog, you with anyone else who would have ripped their leg off with that knee
Dude,
bar.
there's something to high level brothers, like
talk-
being ride or
Did
dies.
we talk about it on the show, or we talk about
Ooh.
that privately? Or in
I
the
don't
chat?
know.
So we talked about like the
Siblings. Yeah, we've talked about
it was, Musamechi and Mikey and Gia and Hoffa and the Rotolo twins and
Do you want to keep going? Is that what we're gonna do?
Rodolfo Vieira and his sister.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yep. And Anna Carolina Vieira. Schmidt
Who's
now.
the dude that Tex Johnson like clubbed? He's got a brother too.
Oh,
William Tackett
the
and Andrew
Tackett's-
Tackett.
Yeah,
Tackett
the
brothers.
Tackett brothers are really fucking.
Oh, the Rice brothers.
Yeah.
Yep. Tanner Rice and
Yeah.
Tanquino has an older brother apparently.
What?
That's really good.
What?
Paul Harrison's
Yeah,
brother.
because his older brother is like Tanke, like the tank, and then he's like baby tank.
That's dope. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Dropping knowledge, Austin.
That's
You
kind
know,
of terrifying.
I don't know how good he is. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's great, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, there's a lot of like siblings.
It's really cool
There's
to like.
something to sibling rivalry for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do we not say the Meow brothers?
We did not
Oh
say
my
the
God,
Meow
we
brothers.
didn't say the
Holy
Forgot the
shit.
Meow brothers.
How did we forget that?
The Ryan brothers
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, there's something to sibling rivalry that like pushes you like
that makes you really good in a weird way.
And I
Yeah.
mean, you always have that training partner.
Of course.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing is like you always have that person. You have that person that knows you really well.
right.
And like keeps you super honest because he knows all the things that you're gonna do or like poorly. Where it's like, cool, I know you're weak in this area, so I'm gonna exploit this, and then like really quickly you don't want to lose to your brother anymore, and you fix that area.
Yeah.
It's dope. So
So super excited to watch these guys compete more. Like literally, like how many 17-year-olds are you super amped? Like on their card, I'm gonna watch that card now. Like that's awesome. I'm really
Them
excited for
and Grace Gundrum. That's pretty much it.
that.
Yeah.
She's brown belt now.
Endo list.
Got brown belt last weekend.
Sweet.
So moving on, let's go through the results on this one.
Yep, we got Tom Brees winning versus Andy Clamp by heel hook. We have Abby O'Toole and Molly McCann. Molly McCann takes it by judge's decision.
Meatball from UFC.
Meatball. We have Lee Chadwick winning by heel hook over Rob Platt. We have Lucas Barnowski defeating Mark Linzarts by heel hook. We have Jed Hugh defeating Ellis Younger by judge's decision. We have Ryan McCartney defeating Harry McKnight by knee bar. We have James Walters defeating Ben Fields by guillotine. Jack Sia defeating Kev Corkle by judges' decisions. Stay Henshaw defeating Adam Jones by rear naked choke. Danny Hughes defeating Ciaran Broen by judges' decision. James Duckett defeating Radek Romanek by heel hook. We have Oli Bates submitting Emil Malskowitz by heel hook. We have Simon Price defeating Mike Peacock by heel hook. Josh Roberts defeating James Lewis by armbar. Mick Staton defeating Andy Walsh by judges' decisions. Kaya Rudolph defeating John Moffitt by rear naked choke. Shane Curtis defeating Jay Paul by heel hook. Rodrigo Silva defeating Stay Bo by judges' decision. Henry Hullett defeating James Close by judges' decision. Andrew Hardwick defeating Callum Rawson by heel hook. Aiden Pinder defeating Aaron Pierre by heel hook. And Lee Herbart defeating Jamie Hay by heel hook.
Great card.
Either
as
heel
always.
hooks or judges' decisions.
Dude, great card as always for GrappleFest. Big fan of them. Love what they do. Love that they are like midday on a Saturday. One of the like most pound for pound underrated slots for like a pro card like this. You get to watch grappling in the midday. You're like, ooh, like eat some lunch, watch some grappling. It's good. So anything else to add on that one?
That's it.
All right, I'll do it. So under a recap of Fight to Win 132 in Hawaii. This event paid at a total of $48,137 in salaries and commissions, with headlined by black belt Gary Tonin defeating Dave Ramos via decision, and maybe fight of the year for Fight to Win.
Before we get into that, I think this might be the highest paying Fight to Win that I can think of.
I don't recall them having ever hit 50,000.
Yeah.
I think we've hit 40,000 a couple times, but it's rare. Like 38,000 is like a really high paying out card. We might have hit 52,000 once, but like I don't remember which card it was.
This is fucking awesome. Like,
Dude, 48 grand
yeah,
paid in salaries and commissions.
for a weekly event. That's fucking
awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing. That's a huge payout. That's like, again, we talked about in both earlier segments, like there's now a framework for people that compete regularly at a high level to like be making like an income and like a living competing and winning. That's like really, really cool. That wasn't present when we started doing the show like a couple years ago.
No.
Like,
For sure, no one was posting their checking account as a fucking professional grappler, 2-3
and it wasn't in the red.
Yeah.
They were negative, but like, yeah, no, it was cool. Like, dude, this was, and the results here is listed as Gary Tonin defeating David Ramos decision fight of the year. How do you feel about that?
This was a crazy match. Like, it's incredible for a number of reasons. The first was that it was a 15-minute match.
That was really funny because there was two timers up on top of the screen, and you saw one at like 5 minutes, and one at 10 minutes. It was or 9:58. It was stopped, and I was like, "There's an error." And then about 3 minutes in, I was like, "I bet this is a 15-minute match, and this is how they're gonna do this." And then one timer went away, and the other timer started, and I was like, "Called it."
You're a lot smarter than I am. I thought it was some kind of weird like. They have a certain amount of time standing and a certain amount of time on the ground. I was trying to like figure it out.
I was like, either it's an error and it's just there accidentally, or they're gonna because the 5 minute timer was going down. It's like it's not a 5 minute match, so it's like I assume they're gonna run the other timer into this.
This was an incredible match. Like I'm glad that they gave them 15 minutes because generally, and this is coming from someone who hates longer matches, but like with these guys, these are the guys that you want a 15-minute match
because they're gonna push the pace the entire time.
The entire time. It
Like,
was
they put up a highlight of this match.
It was almost the whole match.
It's still 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a highlight.
These guys are going absolutely nuts the whole time. Yeah, as Maine and Austin said, they basically, they released the full match itself, which is like a 20-minute video with like walkouts and shit.
Walkout and finish.
And then they have a highlight video that's 5 minutes long. It's 5 minutes of highlights, and that's the best way to put this match, because there's no like, I can't talk about single sequences here because they're all over the place.
5 minutes of like single sequences, like, oh, this neighbor attempt, or this jumping pass,
fucking takedowns,
this Dave Ramos jumping armbar over the guard, like this Gary Tonin leg entry.
Yeah, like
Crab
rides,
nobody
inversions.
established his position enough. There's one cool thing that Gary Tonin does that we do want to talk about. It was a body lock like back take that Tonin was trying to do, and Davi was flattened out, and he had Tonin's like foot up in the air.
He was like reaching behind his own head, grabbing his foot. That was really interesting. Like, what was that? I'm like too dumb to know exactly what that prevented, but it clearly worked. But it was like,
I think it was like stopping Tonin like throwing
Stepping
his
over.
leg over to like change the angle to get behind him. I think it's what. So keeping that foot grab there kept Tonin's leg extended and kept his hips open enough where he couldn't shift his hip line and like get behind him. It's the only thing I can like figure out would be happening there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was super cool. It was just
it was really cool.
It's right in the beginning of the highlight. I'm just like, oh, look at that nifty stuff.
Yeah, great match all the way around.
I think honestly for the decision, I think it's a good decision.
Yeah.
I think Tonin has more action. Like Dave puts up some submission attempts, but Tonin is just continuously through the entire match putting Ramos on the defensive on like this sequence and this pass and this takedown. This is just a great match.
Yep.
I think we were saying this while I was watching the highlight. It was like, if I was going to show somebody jiu-jitsu and they didn't know what jiu-jitsu was, I'd probably show them Gary Tonin just to get them stoked on watching jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I could show them a really technical gi match with like Kanan like beating somebody by 2, but it's like, would that get you amped to like try to do jiu-jitsu? Or would it be like Gary Tonin like flying, trying to double you out of bounds and then jumping on a leg lock and then me explaining that was a leg lock? It's like, holy
I
shit,
said
that's
this
what jiu-jitsu is?
a while ago at the ADC, one of the ADCC shows we did. I think Gary Tonin has probably 3 to 5 of the top 10 most exciting matches ever
By
in
far.
jiu-jitsu. He has the Paul Harris match.
Well, now
he has
now
the
he has
ADCC match.
Yeah, the versus Canuto.
He has this Dave Ramos match.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like 3
Chrome Gracie match too. That was really sweet.
Yeah.
right? Like he has like 3 or 4 matches offhand you can think of that are like that might be a top 10 match excitement wise ever.
I'm really it's almost like you have to try to think of boring matches that Gary's in as opposed to thinking of exciting ones. You know, like,
Well, it's like
Yeah,
who
I
can
can't
hold
think of
him
any.
down for long enough? And it's like really like you don't have a guy that can ever really like just sit and like hold him. And like he doesn't win every single match, but like
Sure.
even his losses, he's active. He's doing stuff. Like think of like the Wagner Hosha
he
match
does get
versus
squashed
ADCC.
in ADCC sometimes, though.
Sometimes, but not
Yeah.
like it's usually not. He's usually doing stuff, and he's like guys are trying to hold him down, and he's like being active.
I think in some of his ADCC losses, people have been able to shut him down, but it's not common. It's certainly not common.
Right. I mean, the Wagner Hosha matches where we get the Gary Tonin flying like an airplane to stop the Wagner back take over and over, doing front rolls out of the back takes. Like, dude's wild.
He's the most entertaining grappler.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's rare. It's really rare to see a dude be super wild, but also be able to compete at the highest levels. Because usually we see the wild guys like, oh, he's really good, but as soon as he runs into like a really good grappler, he gets like smoked. And you're like, with Tonin, he can hang at the top levels. And it's really, really rare. He is a special grappler, so I'm really happy to see him like competing and grappling between MMA fights now because he's not just doing MMA.
I'm so glad he's back. Yeah, like there was like 2 years where he wasn't.
He was just doing. I mean, which is again at the beginning of your career, what you want to be doing for MMA. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
for
happy
sure.
he
Focus,
took
yeah.
that time to
And if
focus.
you're fighting in one, then you have to travel a lot too. So you have to like spend that time in
In
Asia,
Singapore.
getting like adjusted to the time.
Right.
Also, he's probably confident enough now. He's got enough wins over there, so
I think he has 5. I think he's 5 now or 6 now.
something like that.
I think, but like.
Well, we get him
super-
back. That's all that matters,
Dude,
and he's
yeah.
fucking entertaining.
As
so.
long as we get a Tonin match every like quarter to like 6 months, I'll be happy.
I
because
totally agree.
Dude puts on a performance every single time. And dude, Davi Ramos, we haven't seen him in forever, and he looked good versus
Yeah.
Tonin. Like Tonin had him in some spots that were like dangerous, and Ramos just was a veteran, like very technically escaped. Like he never let Tonin get a really good bite on his leg. Like again, Davi Ramos is another guy that's like super exciting. We don't talk about him as much because we've not covered him on the show before because he just hasn't been doing a lot of grappling. He's been fighting.
Yeah, he had a bunch of really good submission attempts with Gary. So yeah, it was a great back and forth. Definitely.
It was a baller match. You should definitely go back. At least watch the highlights. Like, watch the whole match, but, like, watch the highlights. It's a 15-minute match that you should, like, watch the entire thing of. So that does it for that match. Let's
Next.
talk about Jordan Gomes defeating Barrett Yoshida via decision.
Yeah, this is a really technical match. Very patient on either side. Jordan was tripod passing more. In both cases, actually, it seemed like they neither person really wanted to pass.
Yeah,
They're
that was
both
kind of
like
interesting.
seeding that. There's a lot of 50-50. At what point Barrett missteps on a pass and Jordan pulls him into a deep mounted triangle, and that's probably like
I think that's what it was. And George Sheeta kind of make this little mistake, and Jordan's able to capitalize on. The commentary was good, and they knew Jordan well, and they talked about his game and like what he did well, and it was, I think, really insightful because we know Yoshida's game so well, so it was cool to hear the commentators talking about like what Jordan did well and why you know him, and like then he's in that triangle and it makes sense.
Yeah, I think the mounted triangle was the deciding factor.
And he becomes the Masters black belt featherweight champion. Potentially, honestly, would not be surprised to see these guys rematch in the next year for that belt again. I know Yoshida has a bunch of wins at the Masters weight class and fight to win, so wouldn't surprise me.
Yep. Next up, we have Jenna Bishop defeating Tracy Goodell by split decision.
And she becomes the Masters bantamweight. Those are 2 words now. Bantamweight champion in the gi.
Yeah, this was an awesome match, especially towards the end. I think on any other card, this would have been a contender for fight of the night if you didn't have.
You don't have Gary Tonin on the card.
Yeah,
like it's like was it Korean Zombie said it? It was Korean Zombie had like 3 would have been fight of the nights on the card, but he was also, I think, on the card with McGregor or something, or he's on the card, some other guy, and there's like highlight reel knockouts, and it's like, was it Cub Swanson or was it McGregor? Was it Cowboy? It was one of the guys, and in one of the post fights, he goes, I don't want to be in a card with him anymore. Because basically like 3 times in a row he has these like great performances, and then like this guy is like, I think it was Cowboy had like submission of the night or something like that. He's like, I don't want to be in a card with him anymore. So it's the same thing. It's like I don't want to be in a card with Gary Tonin because like he's gonna get fight of the night.
Yeah.
yeah. Jenna has awesome like high guard inversions here, just great guard work on her part.
Super back and forth, and I love that they had black and white gis. So you could see it really well. You could see all the positional changes and shifts really well. I like people who have individuality, but like I do really like that at the World Championships they make them have 2 different color gis. From a viewer perspective, it just makes the action, especially when we have action-packed matches like this, so much easier to follow and watch when you have 2 different colored gis.
So at one point during an inversion by Jenna, Tracy goes for a knee bar, but ends up on bottom with Jenna hitting an awesome leg drag, lots of attacks back and forth. Jenna ends the match with a nasty toe hold, but as we say,
Toe holds in the last 30 seconds don't count.
I think what we say is toe holds in the last 30 seconds are bullshit. Is what we normally say.
Yeah.
Or leg attacks.
Leg locks in the last 30 seconds are bullshit. Like it's like we've seen guys get tapped. We saw Herbart hit one on Claudio.
We did,
but you see him finished. But it's one of those like we see them so frequently. Like the frequency in which that they are finished in the last 30 seconds is always like, I don't think you should score leg locks in the last 30 seconds because it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to be like, look at me, I'm doing something. Yeah.
But like I don't want to take away. It did look like a good footlock, but it's one of those. It's a joke basically that we talk about.
Next up we have Michael Leary defeating Jake Watson by bow and arrow.
I think this is one of Jake Watson's. I think he's been on Fight to Win once or twice as a black belt, but he was the former brown belt champion, I think. And I forget who he took that off of, but it's cool to see him competing. Again, Michael Leary Jr. is no joke at black belt, so I think we'll see Watson come back with some new tools after this loss. Leary, as always, look good, pathwaying back, gets the choke in.
Next up, we have Victor Hugo defeating Hilton Jose Jr. by guillotine.
Dude, Victor Hugo's really good.
He's really fucking good. He's awesome guard work, basically by Victor, and basically. It starts off kind of as a technical chess match. Hilton eventually going for a really, really aggressive double unders and knee cut, and Victor's able to stand up and basically get a deep guillotine.
Yeah, and Hilton's a little unhappy because it looks like the ref kind of like shelters them back into the mat area, and I think Hilton,
the setup for this was really cool. I forgot about mentioning this. The way it's set up is actually this wasn't a guillotine off of a scramble. It was they're sort of towards the other edge of the match, and Victor is seated, and Hilton is standing, and Victor takes his arm and uses it to push the far shoulder. Mm-hmm. And then you put it best, like it was a no-gi match, but you're like, oh, it's a loop choke.
Yeah,
like
it's that jumping Marcelo guillotine.
Yeah, so basically, Victor is pushing the far shoulder, and it's the same arm position as if you had a far side lapel grip, and basically he's able to stand up.
He takes his other arm in front, and he loops that arm that was on the shoulder over top of the head.
No, it's the other way. The arm that was on the shoulder stays underneath. It was exactly as though he had the collar grip.
It was a reverse naked choke. It was a Yeah, it would be
This is like
a front naked choke, but he had the head in the pocket, so it was a guillotine.
Yeah.
Or
So
like a front Ezekiel.
it was just a sneaky setup. It was really cool because like he basically stood up. It wasn't like one of those you have to like do a really violent snap down to get their head in position.
Right.
Like,
which is usually how you see that hit. It's cool. He just like loops his hands up into that and then knocks him back. And the kind of the ref, like there was some controversy with like the ref keeping them in bounds and like maybe off balanced Hilton here to come in, but Victor Hugo locks the guillotine up. It looked really, really tight. Gets the tap and taps for a second before actually the ref kind of stops it. And beautiful sub, really nice. I'm really cool to see Victor Hugo competing. We're a big fan of him. He's a fun guy to watch.
yeah. Next up, we have Edmund Lee defeating Alika Dayton by decision. Gerson Tatingfong
And
Atigu defeats Western Walchin by armbar. We have David Horton defeating Kalukaleli Hasoka by Americana.
Thanks, Hawaiian names.
We have Cesar Casamajo defeating Adam Toffman by decision.
It's probably Caesar.
Thank you. Yeah. Jeremy Nita defeats Patrick Almeida by loop choke.
And that was submission of the night for the black belts.
This was fucking awesome. Like Jeremy basically threw every choke in gi jiu-jitsu that there is. And he's
somewhat active with the chokes.
Yeah, super active. Eventually, so he's in mount going for an Ezekiel, and Patrick's able to reverse, and Jeremy's in guard, and he basically Patrick is leaning a little bit too far forward in guard, and Jeremy sits up and hits a loop choke, and it's one of those like in order to defend, Patrick has to like flop to his side, and you're like, okay, at that point, if you're falling over from a loop choke, you're done.
Well, it's like that'll block the guillotine a lot of times because the hands will hit the mat, but on the loop choke, because the hand angle is different, it's like a lot. It's just usually not going to get you out of the choke. Like you may get the guy when you fall over to have to adjust the hands enough to pop the head out, but it's a hard choke to defend from that position.
We have Justin and Brady defeating Chris Netta by bread and butter. We have Bilal Ahmad defeating Weston Walchin by split decision. Christopher Kawahai defeats Kyle Foyle by decision. Will Torres defeats Holland by decision. We have Michael Fowler defeating Ridge Allen Blackburn by decision. Myron Kamihara defeats Chris Templo by split decision. Stu Kam defeats Anthony Lynch by choke. Joel Buhe defeats Royal Kawena by Mitchell by split decision.
On to the brown belt results.
Todd Tokuyoshi defeats Shane Saito by decision. Ricky Rodella defeats Daniel De Anda by Darce. We have Blaine Ram defeats Jason Tanaka by knee bar. Brandon Gross defeats Kawika Tahiri by key lock.
And that was submission of the night for the brown belts.
Brandon Bell defeats Christian Chun Fat by decision. And Brandon Saki defeats Kyle Oswalt by split decision.
That was fight of the night for the brown belts. Sorry, I punched my mic there and I got distracted.
All good. This was an awesome fucking match. I definitely recommend going back and watching it. I won't get into it too much, but basically there's a slam too in the match, which we all love.
I love
fight to win.
There was a slam in the Goodell match too.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good back and forth match. So Alvinier defeats Desmond Ontai by decision.
On to the purple belt results.
Jan Okada Combs defeats Emerald Welsh by straight ankle lock. Grant Muchizuki defeats Brandon Medeiros by ankle lock. Nikolas Alcaran defeats Richard Hofschneider by decision. Gina Bennon defeats Mei Lin Park by split decision.
And that was fight of the night for the purple belts.
Dustin Kimura defeats Lejos Far by armbar.
And that was submission of the night for the purple
Could
belts.
you imagine having the last name Kimura?
Yeah, no pressure there.
Just the fucking pressure you got.
No
Yeah.
pressure. On to the kids' results.
Makana Godwin defeats Chael Kabingabang by triangle. Kai Godwin defeats Marcelo Tayo Makita by triangle armbar. Rollins Fukuda defeats Michael Hasley by triangle.
And out of order as shit, onto the judo black belt results.
There's a lot of judo matches. This is actually really fucking awesome.
There's a ton. You should go back and watch a lot of these because they're fun.
Yeah, Christian Pavo defeating Brady Lafortune by 2 ippons. This was a really fucking great match. Christian is much bigger and slow and plodding. Brady is explosive. This was really cool because you saw 2 completely different stylistic matchups here where every time Christian would go for a throw and miss, Brady would he basically like Christian would land turtle and Brady would just fucking jump on his back and start spamming chokes.
But it's cool. You see that dynamism of like, look, you're gonna play that turtle game. I'm gonna punish you for the turtle game on top, and like I'm gonna actively force, especially in the fight to win rule set where it's like Seth's gonna let the judo go until like the submission is clear. So it's like you have 30 seconds on the ground, unless there's a choke in, then it's like you've got to clear the choke before you can get out. So it's like I think in the fight to win rule set, this is a really interesting match to kind of showcase like, oh, that groundwork. Like if you're gonna fight and be on someone, like potentially there's a different meta there in the fight to win professional rule set.
Yeah, it's definitely it's awesome. You know, it's I love seeing this, and we'll see that the match ends actually on a fight to win rule. So Christian basically has a sleeve grip and an over the shoulder kind of like gi grip, which is really interesting to hit a devastating harai goshi, which is just one of the coolest throws.
One of the dudes in my clubs, when he shows this, the Haragoshi actually shows it from this grip. Because in the current meta of judo, this is like the much more common way it's hit.
No shit.
Because that grip is really hard. Because there's actually a specific thing you can't do is if you have the arm on the cross side, you can no longer duck your head underneath to start breaking that grip. So basically, the grip's almost impossible to break in modern judo, given the current rules, because you can't duck under to get it. And this is how it was explained to me.
Fuck.
And I probably am explaining it very poorly, but that grip is stupid hard to deal with.
That makes total sense. Yeah, because if the arm is behind you, you can't reach back to break the grip. Yeah, that's interesting.
And you can't duck the head over, which makes it an inferior grip now. So it's like this really interesting judo metagame that they've changed.
Interesting. So basically, Brady's doing fucking great. And then at one point, Brady goes for a far side foot sweep. And so he has extended his leg far out. And Christian snatches it up for the single leg and like dumps him over the far side.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It looked like a wrestling slam.
Yeah.
Like it was
so
fucking
really
great.
cool. And again, you can grab the legs and fight to win. So it makes it like a very valid technique. You get the ippon off of it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Judo's fucking great. I love watching judo.
We love watching judo. That's why we're super happy on the cards.
Taylor Otsuka defeats Kaisen Yoshimura by decision. Paul Joe defeats Peter Montero by decision. Kambi Quijano defeats Dean Kira by armbar. Jacob Sanders defeats Aaron Pohala by 1 ippon to 0. Anthony Brett defeats Joshua Gima by decision. Maya Fantara defeats Annika Hong by decision. Malia Saburano defeats Leanne Satsuki Tomishima by decision.
On to the kids and teens results.
Logan Pohala defeats Akola Kaiwe Matsueda by rear naked choke. Riley Pohala defeats Shion Nishimura by 1 ippon to 0. And Eli Oshiro defeats Ronson Murillo by 1 ippon to 0.
So that was it for a fight to win 132 in Honolulu, Hawaii. Love them going to the Hawaii. It's always really It's always really cool to see them there. Always really fun card to watch. It's up on Flow Grappling. You can watch it. A lot of fun. So on to our preview of Polaris 12. This event is main evented by Nick the Show Pony Rodriguez, Nicky Rod, versus Luke Rockhold in a catchweight 104.3 kilogram no-gi bout on November 30th. And it's going to be a lot of fun. This is Luke Rockhold's first return to grappling since 2008 or 7.
No
He won Purple Belt No-Gi Worlds in 07 and Blue Belt Gi Worlds in 07 and also Pans in 06, I think, as a blue belt. It might have been no-gi pans. I think it was just pans. So he's now a black belt. He's been looking good. He's got crazy grappling. Buchecha says his grappling is otherworldly.
Gordon Ryan says
his grappling is otherworldly.
If you have both of them, if you have Buchecha and Gordon Ryan talking about how dope your fucking jiu-jitsu is, you're fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like,
I think having both of them too, because it'd be one thing if it was like, oh, just my one team member says I'm awesome at this. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, the crazy thing is, like, Gordon Ryan trains with Rodriguez, like, regularly. It was, like, a really big training partner for him at ADCC for his camp. Yeah. And, like, Rodriguez took second place at ADCC.
Right.
Who was it who said that Rockhold was the strongest guy that he grappled with? I'm trying to remember. Someone said that he's dumb strong.
Oh, yeah.
Which means that, like, if you combine that strength with that, like, his submission fucking game, which is through the fucking roof,
it'll be crazy.
Even watching him fight MMA, he fought like Chris Weidman or something and like nullified his wrestling and like mounted him.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus.
And like Weidman was
Chris
known
Weidman
as
is
like a power wrestler.
Yeah, he was like the Chael Sonnen 2.0.
Well, and Weidman fought Galvao at ADCC in the quarterfinals in like 2009.
Yeah.
Like,
Chris Weidman's not a star
all
grappling-wise.
right. I was a huge Weidman fanboy, still am.
Yeah.
And it was that fucking dumbass kick.
Oh, the
Yeah,
wheel
of
kick
course.
he threw?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got. I mean, yeah.
No, but even
he
the
threw a
wrestling
wheel kick for no
exchanges-
reason and
Yeah.
got taken down for sure. But he still got mounted, and it's not like
He
he's an
couldn't
easy
get out of the
person
mount.
Right, he's not an easy
He got
person
his
to mount.
face fucking bashed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Luke Rockhold is crazy good, but we haven't seen him grapple in Nogi in a professional setting in ever.
I would go by reputation. Luke Rockhold takes this by submission.
He has,
Ooh.
you look at a sub over Bosch. Like, Bosch is another guy similar size to a guy like Rodriguez, and he reverse inverted triangled him. And Bosch is one of the strongest dudes that's ever punched me in the face. So, like, it's a really interesting matchup. I see both these guys having a path to victory. Rodriguez with the dynamic entries, like, could
Yeah.
really.
Explosive
him
wrestling.
Giving Rockhold some problems here, depending on how tentative Rockhold comes out initially. Rodriguez does not come out tentative. Rodriguez comes out fast, but Rockhold's sub game and apparently
Sub-game-
otherworldly strength and
Yeah.
like everyone says he's just amazing. It's a real
The other
X
thing
factor
too is
here.
like, you know, like some. I feel like Nicky Rod's explosive wrestling can catch BJJ guys off balance
Yeah.
because like
True.
not all of them come
But
out that
Rockhold
level.
also
in
trains-
MMA. I'm sorry, MMA is full of those fucking
Yeah.
explosive guys.
Well,
Like,
also
That's true.
Rockhold made his entire career training with Kane and training with DC and training with Khabib. So it's like he's dealt with that Olympic caliber like wrestler before in the room. It's an interesting matchup. I think that's honestly a really tough matchup for Rodriguez, but there's a lot of X factors with Rockhold's grappling currently.
yeah, absolutely.
You never know.
We'll see.
So, next
Compelling
matchup,
match.
we have Richard Alarcon versus Ash Williams at a bantamweight matchup, Nogi.
Mm-hmm.
Alarcon looked good, ADCC.
Yeah, upset with Johnny Grippo, I think.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he was the one who beat Johnny Grippo.
But Ash has, again, been a monster at Polaris before, so this is honestly a really fun matchup. I think whoever takes this is most likely on the short list for the bantamweight title for Polaris. I forget who has that currently. It might be, I don't think it's Nicky Ryan. I don't
This
think he
says
can make
bantamweight title fight.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is a band. Okay, that makes sense then. It's on the I'm looking on the Polaris website for the preview, and it's not listed as a title fight, but it would make sense that both these guys are going to fight for the title because I think Ash either had the title or like I thought he was close to the title for Polaris. So super exciting matchup. Could really go either way. Alarcon looked really good. We saw him fight both Grippo and he looked really good against Ocasio, one of the recent Kasais, as well as we saw him in like the trials for ADCC. So really good, really dynamic. Anything else on that?
No.
Next matchup, we got Tommy Langacker versus Gilbert Burns at a catchweight 80-kilogram match in the gi. This is the only gi matchup that's actually on the main card, and this could honestly go either way.
Yeah.
Langacker's super dynamic, has really nice entries, has really good subs, but Dorino, former world champion, like nice, good pressure on the top, really sticks to a game plan, very hard to sweep, very hard to sub.
Yeah, I think like, and you said it very nicely, which is Tommy Langacker, I think, pulls victories out of fucking nowhere.
Somebody
a
said it
lot.
online like a year ago, and it was like Langacker can pull a rabbit out of a hat at any time.
Yeah.
Like he can be down like the entire match and just pull something out.
The thing
at
is
last
that I feel
second.
like those wins are based off of like scrambles and transitions, and someone like Dorino is not going to leave a whole lot of margin.
Yeah,
his
especially in the
transitions.
gi.
Yeah,
the scramble game is just so good. Like Dorino is a monster. Like everyone kind of has him as a MMA fighter, but he still competes pretty. We cover him pretty regularly in grappling matchups. So this is again another like really interesting matchup that could go either way, especially with the longer time frame. It gives both guys time to get something done and gives time for like a mistake to happen either way.
Yep. Next up, we have Michelle Nicolini versus Vanessa English.
This should be a lot of fun. Nicolini is a really fun grappler to watch. I know a lot of people that I train with actually are really big fans of her game and like specifically watch her and how she enters certain stuff. A couple people have actually taken seminars with her and say like nothing but good things about like the piece of her game they enjoy. I'm a big fan of watching her as well. Vanessa English, we've seen her before. I forget where we've covered her before. I think we've covered her like world stage stuff before, but I don't remember offhand.
It might have been like
right
a
now.
GrappleFest or
I thought it was like might have been IBJJF. I forget.
Is it?
I'm just drawing.
I'm just
blank.
assuming from her last name that we've seen her on a UK card. So
That makes sense.
next up, we have Devontae Johnson versus Arya Esfandmas. Esfandmas.
We've seen both these guys before on GrappleFest. Devontae's looked okay recently. He's had some recent struggles on some stuff, but he's a world class level black belt. We've seen good stuff from Arya. I think Arya is actually the ADCC trials winner for the
What, like Europe or something?
Yeah, for European. He was a European trials winner for the second trials. I forget which weight class. I want to say it was under 88. It might have been under 99, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
This one's all the way up 104, so I hope he's bigger than that. Next up, we have fucking PJ Barch versus Marcin Hell, the goddamn Quintet stars over here.
I was the guys on Quintet.
What?
I said both these guys have been on Quintet.
Both of these guys fucking murked people on Quintet. I'm super excited for this match.
It
This
should
is
be a
actually
lot of fun.
My most favorite. I mean, Marcin Hell, he was like fucking knee barring everybody.
Yeah, he beat all the Sambo guys.
And then PJ Barch, like, he beat Vitor, right? Like,
Shaolin, right?
Yeah, Shaolin,
he beat
yeah.
Yeah, oh my god, that was a good match.
That was a fucking
Forgot
dope
about how
match.
good that match was.
Yeah.
Ooh, this guy got me hyped for this match.
right? Like, just, I mean, anything that's related to Quintet, I'm like, word.
Yeah,
So,
both these guys push a really fun pace. This is a tough one to call.
Yeah.
Marcin's looked really, really good, but he's getting focusing more on MMA, but he can still pull out really exciting grapplings. He can still do really exciting stuff in the grappling versus PJ's been injured coming off the injury at West Coast Trials, but I saw him and actually got a chance to talk to him at ADCC. He was there with Corey and some other guys. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to be on something in the future. He's healed up. He's looked good. I think he was actually on... we've covered him on something else since then, and I forget what it was, but both two dynamic, exciting dudes. I'm going on the preliminary card.
Sure. We have Espen Matheson versus Brian Jenkins.
Dope matchup.
Stefan Petrov versus Shane Fishman. Stefan Ramos versus Justice Joshel. We have Liam Khan versus Craig Ewers. Frederick Vosgroen, Freddie Vosgroen versus Ash Amos.
We know
That's gonna
Freddie.
be-
You've
Yeah.
trained with Freddie before, right?
Yeah, I've trained with Freddie. Really good leg locker. He always wears this red singlet in all of his super
Dude,
fights.
it's so hilarious.
So,
At GrappleFest,
I'm
we saw
excited
him
to
come
see
out of the
him.
red singlet, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And like looks like he's gonna wrestle, and then he
Yeah.
immediately like goes for your legs. You're
Yeah.
like, "Well, that's a trick."
Yeah, he's a good leg locker, but he wears a wrestling singlet. Go figure. Really cool guy. I really like training with him. He's really good.
We have Jeremy Skinner versus Owen O. Flanagan. We have Fred Greenhall versus Shane Price, and we have Natasha Sylvan Georgian versus Jamie Hughes. There's also going to be two other people that are competing on a Polaris, like a trials before this, that will also be on this card. So I'm super excited for that because that's always like, I love trials events. Like I love giving people an opportunity to be showcased on a pro event by winning a trials because it's like there's no excuse. You can get there.
Given Jeremy Skinner's performance this weekend versus Cade Rotolo, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on him because he was super fun to watch.
Yeah,
So.
dude, back-to-back weeks, different countries. Oh, no, sorry, UK is in the same country as GrappleFest. I forgot about
It's
that.
in Wales, yeah.
So, yeah, looks like a really fun card. Any other closing thoughts on that one?
Mm-mm.
All right, that does it. So, on to our preview of Quintet Fight Night 4 in Japan. I think this one's Japan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
It's at the Akita Cultural Center
so this
in
is
Tokyo.
So this is a fight night. So typically what this is a bunch of like guys around the same weight. Last time was I think at 155 or something like that, or whatever the kilogram equivalent is. It's 4 teams going up in quintet style rules. If you have not watched a quintet before, watch Quintet. It's awesome. It is basically a team battle elimination. So you have team 1 versus team 2. Grappler 1 fight on each team. If one person is submitted, then that grappler from that team is out, and the grappler that submitted him remains and stays on, and then the next person from that team lineup goes. Your goal is to eliminate every person from that team. If there is a draw, both grapplers are eliminated, and then you move to the next grappler on the team. Basically, Alex Viana says you're losing until you win, and so people are incentivized to actively go for the submission, or if you're going to draw, you have a really, really, really good reason to draw against someone that your team doesn't think they can beat. So it actively promotes action, and honestly, they're usually a ton of fun to watch and cover. So let's move on to the teams. Who you got?
All right, so teams, we have Team Parestra, we have Kohi Yasumi, Ayumu Shioda, Yutaka Saito, Yusuke Honma, and Shoki Higuchi. We have Team Sakuraba, Daisuke Nakamura, who we've seen before.
Yep.
Yuji Hoshino, Shitaro Debana, Kazuhiro Suzuki, Yoichi Fukumoto. We have Team K-Top BJJ. These are all Korean, as the sole Korean team. In Seong Jang, who we've seen in Spyder recently. We just talked about him. Wonky Che, Yang Seop Lee, Young Seong Cho, and Jun Young Cho. Then we have Team Carpe Diem, Masahiro Iwasaki, who we see a lot too, and actually also competed in Spyder. Tomoshige Sera, Sotaro Yamada, Yukinari Tamura, and Tomoyuki Hashimoto.
Hashimoto is a top ranked like roosterweight and I think light featherweight. He's like on the world stage. He's really, really good. There's a couple guys on here that are actually like really, really high level IBJJF competitors. So it's super exciting. Like Wanky Che is a really top level guy. Insing John is a really top level guy. I'm probably missing like 2 other guys that are like really, really.
Shutoro Dabano. Nasty.
Yeah, it was nasty at one of the last quintets.
Daisuke's former fighter.
Yep, Daisuke Nakamura's got a really good sub game, really, really tough. So there's a lot of actually like really, really good matchups to be had and to be made on this event. And usually we see a bunch of different people match up, so we get to see a lot of different dynamic matchups between multiple different grapplers. There's also some special matches on this card. We have Kyle Chambers versus Hassam Rita. That shows to be a really fun match. I'm not certain if Quintet is going to allow heel hooks or not, because Quintet has historically banned heel hooks and like closing of the closed guard for more than 20 seconds in order to foster action. So Kyle Chambers being like much more of a leg locker than I think most other people on this card. It'll be interesting to see if like that special match actually they allow heel hooks or they don't. So I'm pretty curious about that. And Takanori Gomi versus Kazushi Sakuraba, and Hideo Tokuro versus Minimal Man. So
Yeah.
these are always fun. These are always awesome to watch. It's usually streamed on Fight Pass, and I love watching Quintet because it's super baller and super fun. I have no idea who will take this. I don't want to speculate until we get like what team fights what team first, and then like actually get the lineup. So you really don't know Quintet until it sort of happens.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty chaotic too. Like I feel like in Quintet there have been. It's great because you see people break out in Quintet where you're like, who the fuck? Like word? Like I didn't
you
even
have
know
like
this
a crazy performance. You're like,
Marcin
whoa.
Held, for example.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you knew Marcin Held before that. But
no,
like,
but like
know how good
he was ripping knee bars, dude. Like left and right. I'm trying to remember which Gracie. Is it Igor Gracie? One of the Gracies, like one of the Gracies that we don't see as much. Competing did really well. One of the quintets as well. Yeah,
but there's a bunch of guys that we don't see a ton that usually get featured on Quintet that like put on fire matchups that are a lot of fun, and so I always enjoy a Quintet because the team battle format is just like
it's the best.
It's just really fun to watch. It's like not necessarily the most like determination of like who is skill better because like it's got all these X factors in it, but it's like fun to watch as a spectator.
Exactly,
and that's really why I enjoy it.
That's a good way of putting it. Like. It's like we get so focused on putting on events to determine the best competitor, which is great, but sometimes it's just more fun to see chaos.
Yeah, like who doesn't want to see Gordon Ryan like triangle Josh Barnett?
Yeah,
right.
Like what? Like Gordon Ryan can triangle people, and then it's also like it's Josh Barnett. Like what? Like it's like it's like when you're a kid and you have action figures, and it's like I'm gonna make my GI Joe fight a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the coolest shit ever.
Yeah. So that's Quintet. It's like, dude, it's fun. Like I enjoy Quintet.
Yeah.
It's always it's just.
Yeah,
I keep saying it's just fun. Like it's just fun. It's just good Japanese fun with mismatches and like good matches and then crazy like who is this
freak
guy?
shows.
Yeah,
where it's like, oh, this guy throws flying arm bars. Apparently, oh, he's really good at that. I didn't know he could do that.
Yep,
it's a lot of fun. So that does it for this week's show. This show is run almost 2 hours already. I think we talked about Spyder for like a full hour.
Yeah, because it was
that good.
Yeah, that's an ADCC
really
world's level talent fucking event. You know. There's no way not to talk about it.
No.
Every single match was important.
So we got this with the outro section of the show now. We've finally made it to the end. Through Mike, Austin, good to have you as always. What do you guys going on this week?
Fucking turkey, dog.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, it's Thanksgiving. I took off the week. I forgot about that.
You just forgot that you took a whole fucking week off?
I took off 3 days technically because I work for the government, and so I got Thanksgiving Turkey Day off, and I got the day after, which is American Indian Heritage Day in Maryland.
No shit.
I got that off as well.
That's cool.
For some reason, my phone had it as like last week because it's the fourth. We have a 5-week November this year, which threw off a bunch of things in my calendar. But yeah, no, it's American Indian Heritage Day. They gave it off to us. I think it's one of those holidays that was made basically on like we're gonna close the government anyway. If we make it an official holiday day, then. Like we have.
I don't know how it is in the state government, but like in the federal government, basically the time between Thanksgiving and Christmas is totally fucking wash. Like,
no one works.
Yeah,
so many people take leave. It's not.
Yeah, we eventually take leave too. I always think everyone knows that like at my work, it's like I will not take Christmas. Like I'm good for all that stuff, but like the 3 days of Thanksgiving.
Why do you hate Jesus so much, man?
I just like Rich and I were like, dude, we're broke. Like Rich is in college. I'm like. Working for the government, like we don't have like hella dollars and money, so it's like Christmas is not a big deal to us. It's like tree, cool stuff. We're gonna hang out and have no one bother us. It's amazing.
Hell yeah.
Sounds dope.
So, yeah, you guys Peru and Turkey this week. Are you guys traveling anywhere? Emil, you've been Mr. Worldwide as of recently. You were in like
Jesus
Utah or
fucking Christ.
Seattle
Yo,
or
listen
Philly
to this shit.
or
So it started with LA for ADCC.
For ADCC.
I went to Chicago. I went to Rochester. I went to Philly. I went to Utah. I went to North Carolina. I'm going to Massachusetts. I was going to Dallas, but that's getting canceled, thankfully. And then I'm going back to Philly. That's in a
Jesus,
2-month
dude.
period.
Dude,
Yeah, dog. It's been fucking nuts.
I don't want your life. I booked flights for Third Coast, and I got my tickets, and I got my flights, so we're like, and I got my hotel, so we're good for Third Coast now.
That's why when you were like, "Hey, can you go to Third Coast?" and I was like, "No,
No.
No, you just went, no, I was like, everything good? You're like, I'm traveling a lot. I want to not, if I have the weekend off, I do not want to travel.
yeah." Even with all the traveling, though, I've been able to get back on the mats after a long hiatus, and that's
awesome.
been really fucking great. So
Dude, I bought so much new equipment for Third Coast. I bought like a new recorder for like audio, so our interviews don't sound like ass anymore at venues. I bought like new lights. I bought like lens hoods. I bought another camera, which hopefully I'll be able to like edit some footage from this week's show on that camera. Yeah, it's been baller. It's been a lot of fun.
Fuck yeah.
So hopefully our interviews and everything we do at Third Coast should be a lot better than kind of previous interviews we've done. Just kind of bring the production quality of the show up as we move into 2020. And hopefully I'm going to take a nap this week as well, which will be awesome. You guys have anything else for the week?
That's it, man.
All right. As always, I'm your host. I'm the show. Jesus. As always on the show, I'm your host, Main, joined with my co-host
Austin.
and other co-host.
Emil,
And we got the Grappling Rewind. We'll see you on the mats. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
we also have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Google Plus,
Until that shuts down.
we have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.